Like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show. Weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillar. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead, hit that like button, because you already know what time it is, and you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've seen other people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. Share the content. There are so many people who need to get great content like this. And it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media, share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, today we are going to talk about Black men's loneliness, y'all. It's peaceful and fun, okay? We are going to talk about Black men's loneliness, y'all. And I'm being serious. It's peaceful and fun. Okay, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it because, you know, people say that there's a male loneliness issue out there, and we want to be real about this situation. They say it's a male loneliness issue out there, y'all. We want to be very much real about this situation. So that's where we're going to tackle today. Okay, I know it may be rough. Okay, and I know some people may hear some stuff they don't want to hear, y'all, but we're going to talk about Black men's loneliness, y'all, because this male loneliness issue is you know, it's a thing out here where people want to talk about this male loneliness issue. So I might as well give a legitimate perspective on this crazy idea, okay? But before I do that, I want to take a moment out to give credit where credit is due. A shout out to the people who helped make this channel work. You know, I appreciate these people so much. These are the people who step up and make financial contributions to the channel. Unfortunately, we did lose the channel. I don't have a record of every single financial contribution, but I'm working with the stuff I still had available to be able to see. So today we got to give a shout out to my main man, great supporter, been rocking with us for a good little long while now. Dusty Hotep is the sponsor of today's stream. Shout out to you, Dusty Hotep. Appreciate what you do, my brother. Appreciate what you do. He is the sponsor of today's stream. I appreciate you for rocking with me. We definitely rocking with you. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right. And of course, when you get a show started, y'all, it's always nice to see that you got somebody out there looking for you and ready to go. It's like you go to the, it's like you're going to a big arena and you want to see somebody out there in the audience, y'all. You want to see somebody in the audience and you may be there and you might get to actually watch the audience walk in. Well, that's nice to see over here at the Roger Report Live. And I do appreciate those people and want to make sure we recognize all of those, but y'all know how it is. There can only be one. So shout out to Gyogami. He is the Highlander of today's stream. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Y'all, if you're watching the Roger Report Live, make sure you become a Highlander of a stream. Come on now. You gotta make an attempt. You gotta be a Highlander at least once. Go for it now. Go for it. Now, I understand some people have done it in the past, but since we got a new channel, you don't have to do it again, y'all. You won't have to do it again. Make an effort. Get you a sponsor. Get you a Highlander of today's stream. It's available for anybody out there. So make it happen, y'all. Make it happen. Shout out to Red Pill Sleeper Cell. What's going on, my brother? Glad to see you here. Glad to see you here. Mr. Suge to you. The Saute Sheriff is in the building. Glad to see you. We got my main man, Chef Mike's Roundtable in the building, head of the pit crew, keeping things in order and in line. And shout out to the pit crew for everything y'all do, because y'all do the part that I don't even be wanting to do myself sometimes, but I know I need somebody to do what needs to be done. So shout out to the pit crew for representing and do what y'all do. Real talk, real talk. I definitely appreciate y'all. Shout out to the Righteous Teacher. Good to see you, my brother. Good to see you. Sarah B is here. You know what? Shout out to you, Sarah, because, you being of the Caucasian persuasion and finding the channel right away shows you really rock with the tech. Because anybody who found it right away, you really rock. And I'm not discounting people who didn't find it immediately, because I know I know how the algorithms can work sometimes, so I know it can be hard to find this. That's why I expect people to be coming for a little while who already have been a part of the channel. So I do get it. But shout out to you, Sarah B, for somehow being able to beeline it from one channel to this channel and making it here. So shout out to you for that. I can appreciate that. I definitely can appreciate that. Shout out to my main man. I'm listening. Great to see you, my brother. Great to see you. Inspired Truth Broadcast is in the building. Great to see you, my brother. Afro Merchant, formerly known as National, is in the house. Shout out to my main man, Trail Bentley, representing hashtag long live the habitual line steppers, hashtag niggas in the wilderness, hashtag dignity over vagina, hashtag Al Gore's baby, and hashtag hell Hydra. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Grab Second Gear Eddie is in the building. Great to see you. The deputy on the grill is in the house. J Dub, always great to see you, brother. Always great to see you. Silk Diggy is already here. He done found the channel, y'all. Silk Diggy is in the building. Patrick Saint is here representing. Y'all, it's good to see all y'all back too. I'm gonna just keep it real, y'all. It's good to see all y'all back. Makes my heart smile, as they say. Makes my heart smile to see y'all back in the building. And of course, it's gonna be great when other people get back in the building as well. Ryan Decipher's coming through. He's already found us as well. So shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Ryan Decipher says, good morning to Roger and the chat. Male loneliness is fun and peaceful. Wait until Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out next year. My main man Floyd Thompson done found us. My main man Floyd Thompson done found it. He's in the building. Shout out to you, Floyd. Yay, yay. Great to have you here, y'all. Great to have you here. Cause y'all, we got to look at this, male loneliness issue. And how is this going to affect black men? How is this going to affect black men? I think we got to be real about this particular subject. And this may be tough for some people to hear. So I'm going to definitely say, y'all make sure y'all spread the word on this episode, especially. Make sure y'all spread the word on this episode because people need to hear what's going on. Yes, there's more separation at this particular point right now between black men and black women. Now, there are some black men who are already replacing black women because they're doing exactly what they should do. They are going after the best woman available. And I got to salute those brothers. Okay. I got to salute those brothers. I appreciate those brothers. You know, they in my personal life as well. You know, I see amongst the men that I know how the younger you go, the more non-black women are popping up in relationships. Okay. I see that happening. And I'm about to get to it, Trail. You know, I did see it. I did see it, but I appreciate you saying something about it. I did see it. So let me just go and get it out the way, y'all. Shout out to my main man, Trail Bendy. He done came through with the Cash App, y'all. Of course, the Cash App is always available, y'all. The Cash App is always available. So shout out to Trail Bendy. Hit me with the Cash App. Well, I guess I should say Cash Apps because I don't really say how much the Cash Apps be worth, but y'all can't really see it. So I guess I should say it. So I'm gonna try to get into that as a habit too, y'all. And I do apologize again for the wrenches. I did not do the wrenches. You know, hopefully, I will get this done this weekend, y'all. I'm gonna start giving out some wrenches this weekend. I do apologize to everybody because I ain't gave out nobody a wrench, and I especially want the pit crew to have theirs. It don't make sense for them not to have wrenches. So I do apologize about that. I'm definitely gonna try to work on that this weekend and make sure some of y'all folks get y'all wrenches back. Okay. But shout out to Trail Billy. He says, free my nigga Roger. And he drops a 557 with the Trail Billy 57-cent tax. Hey, shout out to you, brother. Much appreciated. Much appreciated, y'all. Hey, man, I'm trying to be out here and be free, y'all. Let the algorithm free me, y'all. Let the algorithm free me, okay? Real talk, okay? But you know what? Building up that other channel with y'all was a fun experience. It was great. I enjoyed every single moment of it. And we're going to have much more moments in the future. And some of those topics we're going to cover again. Now, I was always planning to cover certain things again anyway, because I like to make sure we continue to push things and we all grow as a people. We shouldn't be here and not be growing. You know, I definitely want everybody to be able to grow. Okay, that's real talk. So we're going to get into some things and we're going to have some spin on some things. And I'm going to include some things that have happened in the past. And we're going to make it fun the whole time, y'all. The Roger Report Live does not die. It just multiplies. It is what it is, okay? So we're going to get into this black male loneliness thing, y'all. Have you seen it? Okay? I know I'm not the only person, y'all. Have you seen it? There are black men out there, y'all. They don't, let's keep it real, y'all. They don't have a woman. They're not married, man. These brothers is not married. Okay. These brothers are living a life. Okay. That doesn't include seeing a particular woman on a daily basis. It don't include that. Okay. Now I told you I work with the public. I go to homes and businesses. All right. So I see some of them, y'all. I'm not gonna tell you that this is a made up thing, y'all. I've actually met black men who are older black men, and they don't have a quote unquote woman living with them. Okay. They don't have a woman they're waking up next to. It ain't a woman necessarily getting up in the morning cooking their breakfast. They are quote unquote alone. And shout out to FLX. I appreciate you asking. I appreciate you asking. The Cash App, y'all, and it is rolling at the bottom of the screen. It is $ the Roger Report. That is the Cash App, $ the Roger Report. So I appreciate you for asking, FLX. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. But the $ the Roger Report is the Cash App, folks. Appreciate you. Okay. Now, y'all, I'm serious now. This is not a joke. I've met black men. Okay, amongst others, of course, but I've met black men who literally live by themselves, and they are. I don't. What do we want to say the older age is? Do we want to say 50? Do you want to say 60? You know, is the guys in the 70s? No, it's as old as you want to take it. Okay, as old as you want to take it. I met some of these men. Okay, I've met some of these men. Okay, I'm not saying it takes a long time to meet them either. Well, I mean, realistically, I just talked to another one. What was it, last week? On Friday or something? I met another guy like that. Last week on Friday, black man, I would guesstimate, probably 65-ish to 70-ish, maybe somewhere up in there. He wasn't married. Had his own place. Y'all, had his own place. You know, he had to meet me at his house, y'all. He had to meet me at his house. Why? Because he was kicking it, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all the straight up truth, y'all. I'm gonna tell you the straight up truth. I had to meet him at his house because he was kicking it. Okay, he was kicking it. He was out. If my memory's correct, I believe that man told me he wasn't all that far away. He had to come. Yeah, I think he said he came from the bar. I kid you not, y'all. I think he said he came from the bar. Okay, yeah, a little older guy. So he was out there kicking it. Okay, so things like that do happen. Okay, things like that do happen. All right. So you're going to find different examples of that. And I told y'all before. You know, when y'all see me get to the point where I ain't really doing nothing no more, I'm like on some total retirement stuff. I'm gonna be playing Call of Duty, y'all. I don't play it now because I really don't have the time. And that's just what it is. I don't play it now because I really don't have the time. It is a very fun game to play. And just like if y'all don't know what this is somebody playing Call of Duty, right? This is somebody playing Call of Duty. First person shooter game. So you see you got the guy who he ready to go into action. And there's two more of people who could be his personal friends. It could just be people on the internet. This could be just these could be computer people or whatever, because you got these missions you can go on. Now looking at it, I see names attached when I was looking at where I got this from. So I think it's like guys he either knows as personal friends or guys he met on internet. Either way. But Call of Duty fun. I'm just gonna keep it real, y'all. Call of Duty is fun. Call of Duty is very fun. All right. I know when I had a surgery and I got really introduced into Call of Duty, and I wasn't able to really walk around and move, y'all. I wasn't able to really walk around and move. Man, I started playing some Call of Duty, like for real. Joe, I know the first couple times I played, man, you talk about making the hours go past. That makes some hours go past. It is so much fun to be relaxed, not having to worry about being at a particular place at a particular time, and get online with friends you've made online, and get online with friends that you know personally. And y'all get out there and y'all, you play a team game. You get out there and you get your wins in. Or yeah, you got the zombie thing. They got the mode where you get the zombies. So you get out there, man, and you could go with your friends. I mean, you can go by yourself and take all the zombies you want. You know what I'm saying? You can knock them off. But y'all, all I can say is it is a lot of fun. How do I know it's a lot of fun? Because it wasn't just me, y'all. There's a lot of men who sat down and had played some Call of Duty, and the time just went by. Okay? The time just went by. Okay? It's fun. Now, I've told y'all before. Okay, well, I've told y'all before That's what I'm gonna do. Okay, I told y'all. When it's time to retire and all that, I'm gonna be back to playing some video games. I'm sure Call of Duty is gonna be one. Unless some reason Call of Duty don't exist anymore, or I'll be playing the new version, whatever it is. Whatever they morphed into at that particular time, that's what I'll be doing. I didn't say this before. It's a blast. I miss being able to sit down and talk with people and meet different people from all over the world. Getting the clan, represent, do your thing. I miss that. Okay. I just don't have time for it right now. It's not like it ain't fun. I really just don't have the time to do it. Just is what it is. But that's what the goal is, y'all. That's what the goal is, to get back to a point where I can sit down, relax, and have nothing to worry about, and be able to shoot some people up as much as I want to. And when I'm done, just go eat, lay down, watch a movie. You can go out, spend time with a woman, possibly, depending upon what you do. But there's black men out there right now, y'all, who are quote unquote alone. They wake up in the morning, there is no woman next to them. All right. Now I'm just gonna tell the truth, y'all. I'm just gonna tell the truth. Well, hold on. Shout out to Mr. Suge to you. He said, we got a spot for you, Roger, on Call of Duty. Us Chicago boys, I know they here in these streets, okay? Y'all known in the streets? Well, I'm gonna be in the streets with y'all, man. Real talk. Don't let me catch y'all out there. I'm gonna be in the streets with you. Real talk. I'm gonna be in the streets with you. And y'all, this may sound like something that doesn't mean anything. Okay, it may sound like something that doesn't mean anything, but let's keep it real. It's fun to kick it with the fellas. It's fun, even to be in your own living room, your bedroom, however you got your setup. Okay, because we talking about male loneliness, right? Okay, we talking about male loneliness. So that means you can pick either the bedroom or you can pick the living room, because you're gonna be by yourself. Okay, you're gonna quote unquote be by yourself. So depending upon what your setup is, okay. See, you ain't gonna have to go into the small corner and play on the little TV. You ain't got to do all that if that ain't what you want to do. You ain't got to play on the little TV. You ain't got to be on the 19-inch struggling to see characters and things like that. You ain't got to do that, because they talking about a male loneliness problem. So what you gonna be able to do, if you want to, I ain't telling you what to do. I'm just saying what you could do. You could possibly hook it up in your bedroom to a proper size TV. And since we're going to have this quote unquote male loneliness problem, what's the size of the TV that's going to be in the bedroom, y'all? What's that size? That size, I'm thinking, for a black man who's quote unquote suffering through a loneliness issue, the bedroom in his TV probably going to be at least 32 inches. I'm just thinking, because you're talking about a black man, he lived by himself. He don't have the overhead of taking care of a bunch of other folks at that particular time. He doesn't have the overhead of taking care of a wife. How big is the TV going to be in the bedroom? I'm thinking at least 32 inches. Okay. I'm thinking at least 32 inches. Shout out to my main man, black man being brutally honest. Always good to see you, my brother. Always good to see you. Long live the habitual line steppers. Shout out to Kev, y'all. Shout out to Kev. Y'all, of course, now, if you ain't subscribed to the man channel, I don't know what you're waiting on. It don't make sense to not subscribe. It just don't make sense. So go ahead, do what you got to do, and subscribe to that man's channel. Okay? Does a lot of great work over there. Real talk. So y'all, let's think about it, y'all. We got this black male loneliness issue. We're gonna have some TVs because we normal people. I'm thinking the TV in the bedroom gonna be at least 32 inches. Okay, the TV in the bedroom gonna be at least 32 inches. That's what I'm thinking. I seriously doubt a man who lives by himself gonna have a TV. I'm talking about the bedroom TV, y'all. Gonna be at least 32 inches. Now the TV in the front room, what grown man who lives by himself ain't gonna have a 50-inch TV in the front room? I'm just trying to be realistic, y'all. You think about the cost of television and things like that. What grown man who lives by himself not gonna have at least a 50-inch TV in the front room? Okay. Now you got your choice. You can attach your system to the front room. You can attach your system to the computers. You can attach your system to the bedroom. However you want to do it. But we're going to have a quote unquote loneliness problem because we're supposedly won't be connecting with other people. I guess we're supposedly not going to be having good, fun conversations. I guess all the black men out there searching for peace aren't supposed to find living alone peaceful. I guess that's what people really believe, or at least they want to believe. Okay. All right. So y'all, I'm being realistic. I'm just being realistic. And I've met some older men, y'all. I ain't really noticed nobody. Well, I'm just talking about the bedroom TV. I ain't really noticed somebody it didn't have at least the 32-inch in there. You know? And when I was a kid, I never imagined playing a video game system on something beyond. I mean, really, as a small child, I really never even thought about something beyond maybe like a 24-inch or something. You know, to even think a 32-inch would be a TV that you'd actually be playing video game system on was kind of unfathomable when I was a little kid. It was kind of unfathomable. But now as an adult, I've come across men playing video games on 50-something inch TVs, 60-something inch TVs, even 70-something inch TVs, y'all. The biggest display I had, y'all, I told y'all I went into a home one time. I think, if my memory is correct, I think they said it might have been a 90-inch TV, something like that. It was something in the 90s, man. I didn't even know they made TVs that big. Real talk, you know. Now, I'm going to keep it real. The people had a little money. The people had a little money, you know. So it's a chance that it's going to be guys out there playing, you know, PlayStation, you know, Xbox, and whatever other game systems. We're gonna be out there on, you know, 50+ inch TVs playing these things, y'all. we gonna have the headset where you're actually talking to people that you're doing missions with, or you're out there going out as a team. We're gonna be talking to each other. Now, the younger folks that I've seen, the big game for them is this game called Fortnite. Okay, another like first-person shooter game. If you don't know what that is, a lot of young folks are into Fortnite. So now when these folks grow up, you know, these people who are 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, whatever, they playing Fortnite. When they grow up, are they not going to be playing some version of a game like that? No, probably a first-person shooter game. Are they not going to be doing this stuff? They do it now for fun. They'll be older then, okay? They won't necessarily go out the house as much. Some folks are going to be retired at 65, not really leaving the house like that. You know, some of us going to leave the house a good amount. Some people like to chill out. And some people are going to like to chill and bask in the fruits of their own labor. So you done did what you had to do in life. You done got to a good position where you can retire, feel comfortable. You got this nice couch that feels great. And now you have time to truly sit on your nice couch. Okay? You done bought you this nice bed and you can relax on this bed. Okay? Okay. and shout out to every brother out there with a man cave. Okay. Shout out to every brother out there with a man cave. But y'all, we're gonna have some things going on that I don't think people are taking into account when they talk about the black male loneliness problem. There are going to be men with men caves, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, shout out to every brother with a man cave. Real talk. Shout out to every brother with a man cave. But there's going to be other brothers, when you walk into the house, that is his man cave. I don't think people get that. You know, I don't think people get that. Because again, y'all, I go to businesses, I go to homes, I see what people do. You're gonna walk into some homes, the entire home gonna be a man cave. Yes, there's gonna be people with apartments, there's gonna be people with condos, people with houses, and that whole thing gonna be a man cave. Real talk. That whole thing gonna be a man cave. You're going to see that there's not much of an influence of women in that home. Okay? You're gonna see that. All right. It's gonna feel great when you walk in. If you're a man, it's gonna feel great when you walk in. Yo, they gonna have the extra large TV. So when we watch the game, we watching the game. Okay, we not huddled up together to watch the game. Now we sitting back and enjoying ourselves because we watching the game. Okay, it is what it is. You know, shout out to Afro Merchant, formerly known as National. He said it right there. He said, "My apartment is the man cave." Laugh out loud. Hey, that's going to be going on, y'all. And I don't think people truly are accounting for this type of stuff. They're pushing this issue about loneliness amongst men. But men have man caves. And when your whole entire living situation is the man cave, I'm going to tell y'all, it's nice. Real talk, y'all. It's very nice. Okay. Now, shout out to Afro Merchant. He coming through with the Cash App 1057. So shout out to him and Trail Billy for the 57-cent Trail Penny tax. Appreciate you big time, my brother. Appreciate you big time. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know, it is wonderful to see that happen, y'all. So thank you very much. Okay. Okay. Shout out to now see, I don't know what your name would be on social media. And you know, I don't like to give nobody stuff up, but now this could be a person advertising their company. So I don't know. You tell me, what am I supposed to call you? The word wine is in your Cash App. I'm gonna say that. Do you want me to call you something else? You know, because I didn't see no instruction to call you something. If you want me to call you something else, just put wine is in the Cash App, and I know what we're talking about, or I just read the whole thing like it is. But shout out to you for the $5 Cash App. Appreciate you big time. Appreciate you big time. It says for husband, lonely wives. What do lonely even mean? Well, for men, I don't know, y'all. I just don't know what lonely is supposed to mean for men. I don't really know what that is, because let's keep it real, man. Do you see men who are lonely in general? And I'm not saying there's never been a quote unquote lonely man before. Like I say, you know, if I look long enough, I can find you a guy with no legs. Okay. I don't happen to know a guy with no legs, but I'm pretty sure if I make a grand effort for it, I can find you a guy with no legs. So possibly there's a guy out there who actually might be lonely. Okay. It's a guy out there, he might be lonely. It's possible. I'm not going to say it's just out of the realm of possibility. But a lonely man, like, that ain't something you're going to come across like that. It just ain't. Okay. But I guess, you know, this is my personal belief, y'all. My personal belief is this male loneliness thing is something that women came up with, that they're trying to push to make men do things that we're not doing for them. I do think that's really where it's coming from. And I think women like the ideal of men being lonely, because if we think we're truly going to be lonely, somehow we're going to make this grand effort to be with them, and we're going to be with women who don't deserve a man. I really do believe that's where the push of it is coming from. Okay. And maybe it even originated from a place that wasn't malice. I can even give some credit. I don't think that's the case. I do think wherever the idea came from, somebody with malice intent came up with this to push it about, you know, men being lonely. I think there was malice intent behind that. Now I can't prove it because I don't know exactly where it came from, but realistically, I think there was malice intent behind that, and I think it's being pushed. Even if there was no malice intent with whoever came up with it, I think the reason it's being pushed the way it is because there are people with malice intent, and they want to convince you that you got to do something that you don't want to do, which is, give up your peace to go deal with some woman who doesn't actually like you. I do believe that. That's what a lot of women want. Because I understand, the quote unquote social engineering part and people doing this and pushing that. I get that. But I also remember at all times that men have agency. If we like you, we trying to be with you. When we don't like you, we don't need to be with you like that. And then real talk, because we're men, we understand we deal with situations regardless of the fact. Men deal with all kinds of situations they don't necessarily like. So maybe we do like you. Maybe we wanted to be with you. But you cause us so many problems, it makes it impossible for us to really be with you. So we just let it go. That's what men do. Okay, y'all? It ain't like it ain't men out here who literally shovel manure. I don't think no man wants to go shovel manure. But the thing is, it's a way for him to get paid. So he goes and shovel that manure so he can get paid. He don't like it. He don't like it. Okay, he's just doing what he got to do. Okay, he's just doing what he got to do. I'm going to shovel this manure. I'm going to get this money and I'm going to go live my life. Okay, it just is what it is. So men don't deal with the world the same way women deal with the world. So I do think there's a lot of women trying to push the idea that y'all better do what I say or you're going to be lonely. Y'all, now, I don't think this would work in the 1950s. I don't believe this is going to work in the 1930s. Okay? I don't believe this is working in the 1860s. But we in the 2020s right now. In the 2030s, the 2040s, the 2050s, with all the technology available right now, I just don't see where you come up with a bunch of lonely men. I'm just keeping it real. I'm not saying having a wife is bad. I am not saying get rid of your wife. Of course, I'm not saying nothing like that. If you were lucky enough to find a woman worthy of being a wife, you don't throw her away. I am not saying anything like that. What I am saying is the wave of technology has come through. And the way they create certain things so people will buy them or participate with them, because people want the money, they're going to make things literally based on how men like to operate. So they're going to give us games. We're going to be able to have competition. We're going to be able to have fun. We can move like we're in a movie. We can act like the action movie star. You do it through a game. Men have imaginations, and that's what I think a lot of people start to forget. Men have imaginations too. We don't have the luxury of using it all the time. But we do have imagination. We are creative. You can't necessarily do it 24 hours a day. A lot of us have jobs where we got to be serious. A lot of us have business where we have to be serious. We got to walk through a world and we can't be delusional, so that we don't get to use our imaginations all the time. But if I can come home, okay, and I can go be a hero, I can go rescue the damsel in distress, per se. I can go rescue a group of hostages and things like that. Yeah, I'm going to do that because I'm a man. We dig that stuff. Okay? We dig that stuff. And what I personally believe, when you're older and you don't do much and life becomes boring to you, you're going to die early anyway. That's what I personally believe. But most of those folks just going to die early. Now, if you have an active mind and you're still doing a bunch of stuff, those men seem to live a little bit longer. The people who enjoy doing things they want to do seem to live a little bit longer. So guess what? Some of us got kids. We're going to go kick it and we're going to enjoy our grandkids. We done raised our kids. We got some grandkids and we're going to go enjoy our time with our grandkids. That's what some men going to be. Now, I know they want y'all to believe men going to be lonely. I know they want y'all to believe that. Okay. I get it. They want y'all to believe that. But some of us going to kick it with the grandkids because that's what we like doing. Okay. Some of us, we going to get to some stuff that we miss because we didn't get to do it as adult men, at least not regularly, because we was out here providing for folks. We was out here being great men. We was just out here taking care of ourselves. So we didn't get to do a lot of fun stuff that we wanted to do because we was busy. Or once you retire and you ain't so busy, you start making stuff happen that you've been wanting to do. My father doing that. He retired. He spends his time doing a bunch of stuff he wanted to do. And I'm glad he does that. I think it's gonna help him live longer and keep him around longer. He does stuff that he wants to do. And don't get it twisted, y'all. He relax when he want to. I remember one time I talked to him and he was talking about watching the football game, and I was like, man, it's Monday. It ain't Sunday no more. You missed that, Oh man, I want to see that game. The man was enjoying himself so much that he wasn't even keeping track of what the date was anymore. Okay. So, well, I guess he keep track, but he didn't keep track enough to realize when Sunday was Sunday. And he missed some particular game he wanted to see. And when he told me that, I was like, man, that is fantastic, man. Yeah, think about it. You in a place where you're doing so much stuff that you want to do that you done lost track of the days and you missed the game. But you ain't missed the game for no bad reason. You missed the game because you was so busy doing whatever you wanted to do when you wanted to do it. Sounds fantastic to me. And you know what? Dear old dad don't have a male loneliness problem. Dear old dad don't seem to have one. Okay, not mine. Okay. Does your dad have a male loneliness problem? Okay, and they didn't even grow up the way some of us are growing up. Do you know a man who has a male loneliness problem? Do you know any? Okay, because I can't think of one. I'm just gonna be 100% honest with y'all. I can't think of one. From the drunks to the businessmen to a guy who worked the same job 30, 40 years or whatever. I don't know a man that just comes off off the top of my head. I don't know any man who is facing a loneliness problem. Now, what I will say, and I'm going to say this is something more toward women, because I have dealt with older people. I deal with the public. I deal with people of all ages. But I would tell you, there are older women who will try to talk to you. I'm not saying talk to you as in come on to you. I'm saying they want to talk. You go to a home, you do a job, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other people who work with the public who find this to be very true. You go to a person's home to perform some task. Okay, maybe you the plumber. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you delivering the fridge. Whatever the case is, women will start trying to tell you their whole life story. Not only their life story, they're going to tell you about the kids, grandkids, and everybody else. And you trying to be polite because you're a professional. You done did what you had to do. You done made your money. You trying to get on up out that door. And what do the women do? Well, look, such and such, and my baby did such and such and such and such, and I got my grandkids who do such and such and such. They going to have a performance at such and such and such and such. What they doing? They trying to talk. A shout out to Shout out to Afro Merchant. He said, bruh, women, especially older ones, would talk your ear off, laugh out loud. You know what? If you let them, they'll sit there and have a 4-hour conversation with you. Real talk. And they'll do most of the talking. You ain't got to even say nothing but uh-huh. Man, that's funny. Yo, just a little response like that. They'll talk to you for 4 hours if you let them. Okay. Now, what does that tell me? I'll say what it suggests to me. If loneliness is an issue, it seems to be more of a female issue. I'm not gonna say you won't meet a man who wants to tell you some stuff. Yeah, you'll meet a man from time to time won't tell you some stuff. Some men want to, still brag about some of the stuff they did back in the day. I get that. Natural thing. But a woman would try to trap you in a conversation. She gonna try to create the conversation where you just can't leave. She will try to trap you. She do it to the point where sometimes you got to be rude just to get out of it. Look, man, I ain't trying to hurt your feelings. I got places to go and people to see. Okay? I ain't trying to hurt your feelings. Okay? I'm not. I got places to go and people to see. You ain't the only client. I got to get to other places, man. Or it might be the end of your day. Man, I got an event I got to go to. Okay? I got stuff I want to do. I don't want to be rude to you, ma'am. I don't want to be rude to you, but I got to rotate. Okay? I got to rotate. Okay? Now the men, I'm not saying the men ain't going to do this somewhat. It's just, they just don't do it like the women do it. And J-Dub, you that's the right term. Some of the guys I want to tell you about the glory days. Cool. But with the guys, it's like, sir, unfortunately, I got to go. Usually men will just be like, okay, oh, well, it was great talking to you. Nice to have somebody to share some experiences with and things like that. And you able to roll out. The women will try to make you feel bad for leaving. The men be like, okay, cool, I understand. You got to do what you got to do. See, they're a man too. They had to live as a man. They understand men got to do what men got to do. So they don't take offense to it. A woman will sit there and try to make you feel bad for having to leave and go make your own money so you could take care of yourself. What is that? Man, I ain't trying to be rude to you. I ain't trying to make you sad. I'm trying to make a living. Okay? I got stuff to do. I got money to get. Okay? I ain't saying nothing personal about you. I got money to get. It ain't about you, man. It ain't about you. And shout out to Afro Merchant, because I'm laughing at this because this is true, y'all. This is true, okay? Shout out to Afro Merchant, man. He say, old lady wants you to take out the trash before you go. Now I'm laughing because that is true, man. That is true. Lord knows. You know what? I done told a woman, you asked me earlier about taking out that trash. Let me get this trash so I can go and get out the door without her crying. Let me go and get this trash. You asked about that trash earlier, didn't you? Let me go and get this trash out here. What y'all do with y'all trash right here? I'm gonna go take your trash out just so I can get up out of here without you performing any longer. Let me get this trash. You ain't even really want to take the trash out, but man, you said something about the trash earlier, and sometimes you just throw it out there for it, man. Hey, you know what, man? It looks like your trash getting a little. Where y'all dump y'all garbage? Oh, baby, that's so sweet of you. That's so sweet of you. Yeah, let me go get this bag. You know what I'm saying? And that's just so you can get out without hurting their feelings or watching them cry. Because I'm going to keep it real. We as men, we care about women's feelings just a little too much. We do. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's just, man, let me go and get this trash so I can get on up out of here. I ain't got time to listen to you for another 3 hours. You know, but y'all, you gotta watch out for that male loneliness problem. Okay, supposedly there's a male loneliness problem we gonna have out there, and we're not gonna be able to operate the way we want to. And I guess we're supposed to sit there and twiddle our thumbs, and nothing's supposed to be going on because we're supposed to be lonely. So I guess we're supposed to look at the wall and reflect on it or something like that. I guess we're supposed to, be sad about every opportunity that we somehow missed, or every woman that somehow we just wasn't able to hold on to. And I guess we're supposed to dream about the what could have been and how it should have been, and we're supposed to be lonely. That's what I see as far as what people are pushing about what's supposed to happen with us. Do I run into it? No, I don't. I'm just keeping it real, y'all. I don't run into it. I don't meet men who are lonely. I meet men who are doing stuff. Okay? May not be stuff you agree with, but I meet men who are doing stuff. And y'all know what else? A lot of these older men still getting it in. Okay, a lot of these older men still getting it in. So I don't know what women think. Okay, I don't know what women think. I don't know what people are being told out here on an everyday basis when it comes to this type of stuff. I got my guesstimations based on what people say, but I'm gonna keep it real, y'all. These old people be getting it in, y'all. Old people be getting it in. There is information about how STDs are going through older people because what? They obviously getting it in somewhere. You may not have seen it. I may not have seen it, but obviously they. I mean, the old men got some old hoes they getting it in with somewhere. Okay, it's some old men still getting it in with some old hoes somewhere. So, I don't know where this loneliness is supposed to come up at. Okay, because there's some old men out there still tagging on some of these old women. Okay, just is what it is. Shout out to Ryan Cypher. Now he said this at Afro Mercy, y'all. He said, "It ain't the trash she wants, Raj, to make her." It ain't the trash she wants, Raja, to make her feel like a young woman again, like Halle Berry from Monsters Ball. I want to feel good. Well, you know what, Ryan Decipher? I ain't gonna say it ain't some of that going on. I ain't gonna say it ain't some of that going on. But hey, I got places to go and people to see. It ain't personal, okay? It ain't personal. That's all I can tell you. It ain't personal. I got places to go and people to see. And I'm not gonna say Ryan Decipher is wrong about that, because sometimes that be coming up too. I'm gonna keep it all the way real. That does come up from time to time, even with them older women. Okay, even with them older women. Now I've met some lonely women that have that happens time to time. They be trying to see if they can get you to go. But yeah, it's some of them older women that do be on that too now. She's 72. She ain't had a husband ever. Sometimes you get the widow. I'm not the widows. It don't happen as much, but I'm gonna tell you the truth that you don't really see it amongst the widows like that. I have widows who still talk about how great their husband was and how he totally fulfilled them in life and things like that. So I'm not saying it's just normal for the widows to be on there like that, but every once in a while, you're gonna meet you a woman, she gonna be 76. And she gonna be trying to get you to bring that old thing back for the first time. That's gonna happen from time to time. She gonna want you to bring that old thing back for the first time. It happens out there. So, is there a male loneliness issue? I'm not gonna sit and say it ain't no man who ain't having a male loneliness issue. But I think a lot of times people be putting things out there that is affecting 0.7% of the population, and they try to act like it's an epidemic. Okay. Are there 0.7% of men who are having a male loneliness issue? I'm sure if you go to 0.07%, you'll probably find some men that's having a male loneliness issue. Do I even believe there is 1% of men having a male loneliness issue? I don't know about the black ones, y'all. Maybe some other culture. Maybe some man has a certain expectation. Maybe there's family things that go on and he always expected to die before the woman died, and then somehow the woman died first. Maybe in other cultures, the way they are raised, the way they're taught, the way they're trained, maybe that can happen. Maybe that can happen. But I think the people who try to push it off on black men, I think a lot of stupid things are going into this narrative. Okay, there's a lot of stupid things going into this narrative. Because let me be realistic, y'all. Okay, let me be realistic. All right. You got a black man who lives his life. He never gets married. He never has children. So what is he used to? If you never get married, you never have children. Okay. Now maybe they mean the male loneliness issue is still happening while people are at working ages, where you go to the office, you work amongst people, you see people, you make friends with people you work with, or at least associates with people you work with. You go to the company this, the company that from time to time. Maybe y'all just hang out after work, go to some form of happy hour and things like that. So to say black men are lonely during working ages or when they're still out actively working, I don't know how you really sell that, because we go out into the world and we're amongst people, whether we sit in the office, whether we somebody out in the field doing stuff here and there, whether you get the guy running the company and you have to have meetings with your execs and things like that. I don't really get where you come up with the male loneliness issue amongst men who are actively working on a regular basis. So who's going to be lonely? Guys who've been able to retire. I would assume that may be where you really try to push it. It would make a little more sense. It's a little bit more believable. You're trying to push it on men who are retired. Now, I'm not saying they're not trying to push it on younger men, because they are. I'm not saying they're not trying to push it on younger men, but it just don't make sense at the end of the day. You a younger man, you're 25 and you're lonely? When you out doing all kinds of stuff, you 35 and you're lonely? You're 45 and you're lonely? I'm not saying they ain't trying to push it on guys, because people try to push a lot of stuff that just don't make sense. But when you're those ages and you're alone and you're an active person, you're going to work on a regular basis, you're going to talk to people. You're going to form relationships with people. You're going to associate with people. You're not really going to be lonely because you're going to be doing stuff. So who's really going to be lonely if somebody's going to get lonely at all? You got to be, if you're being realistic, you're talking about an older man who probably isn't working on a regular basis anymore. Okay? He's not kicking it with the same people he used to kick it. Because when he had the job, he would kick it with the fellas and they go to this particular bar together and have fun. They go to this particular club together and have fun. They do different things, different events together, and they have fun. Now he's not part of that group anymore because he doesn't work at the place where they do that stuff at. I totally get that. That makes sense, as if you're trying to push the idea of who should be lonely. I'm not saying those men are actually lonely, but it would make sense. It would make a lot more sense if you're trying to push it as those men might be lonely. But when I meet older men, they be doing stuff. Do y'all understand? The last older man I had to catch up with, last black man I literally had to catch up with, who was older, who I can believe was somewhere, in that, I can say I can believe he was in his 60s or above. I just make it easy. I believe he was in his 60s or above. Okay? I got to his place, man. I beat him there because he was kicking it. That's literally what he was doing. I had to get him to come home to meet me. The man said, yeah, I was at the bar. So you may not agree with going to the bar. I'm not saying that's the place I'm going to hang out in my 60s. I doubt I'm hanging out at the bar. But the way he lived his life, he kicking it at the bar. So he came home to meet me, get his business handled. And I kid you not, y'all. He was going back. Okay. Now this may not have even been a Friday. This could have been like a Wednesday or Thursday. What I did not pick up from him was loneliness. That ain't what I picked up from him. Okay, we had a little conversation, talked, a wee bit, not really long at all. He just didn't come off as no lonely guy to me. He just didn't do it. Okay, he didn't do it. And I'm just keeping it real, y'all. I just don't really meet men who seem lonely. Now, there's some men who want to tell you a story here and there. Yeah, there's some men who want to tell you about the glory days. There's some men who will show off some items to you because, man, I got this back in the day, blah, 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 and tell you the story behind it. They got this thing over here that's extremely rare. They'll show it off. Yeah, men gonna do stuff like that. I ain't saying they ain't gonna talk to people at all. They will do that. They'll show off some stuff. But as a man, they understand you got to go get your money. And he can't get money if he's sitting here talking with me. They understand that. It doesn't seem like too much of an issue. And the guys just don't seem lonely. I've never seen a guy talking about, I'm sad because my kids live in another state. I ain't seen that. I haven't seen guys talk about my kids won't visit. Now I'm saying I haven't seen guys say this stuff because I have seen women kind of go into these things. Yeah, all my kids are living out of state, so I don't get to see my grandkids the way I want to. Yeah, I've heard that. It wasn't for men though. Now I'm not saying a man won't feel that way. Maybe some man out there really want to see his grandkids. That's a normal thing for a man to want to see his grandkids. But I ain't seen one pouting about the fact that he can't see his grandkids as regularly as he like to. I haven't seen that. Now I have seen women excited. They have a certain joy amongst them because one of their children made some decision about, you old and you should move in with us. And they get excited about that. Yeah, I'm gonna go live with my daughter. She's got 3 kids. I'll get to spend more time with my grandkids. They into that type of stuff. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong or bad with that. Sure, why wouldn't you want to go live with your daughter and be amongst your grandkids? Especially if you ain't got no husband. Makes sense. Okay, why not? It ain't like it's a bad thing. It should be good for the kids and be good for her. Give her something to do. It definitely gives her something to do. And she can watch the kids a little bit better than just society raising a kid with what's on television or social media for that point. Okay, so it's all good. But I just don't run into these lonely men. I don't run into these lonely men. I just don't. Okay, I deal with men of all ages, and I just don't run into these lonely men. I get they pushing this idea that you men are going to be lonely. I just don't see it, y'all. As a man who talk to men, I don't see it. Okay, I don't see it. I, I don't see what is this loneliness epidemic is supposed to come from when it comes to men. Now, there's other little things that show indications of certain things too. It implies certain information. You don't see a bunch of men getting on antidepressants. Okay, you don't see that. Okay, you don't see that. Now, grandma might be on an antidepressant, but granddad ain't. I'm gonna keep it real, y'all. Granddad ain't on no antidepressants. Cause yeah, it's some men out there that has some kids and then they done got older. They never got married, but they got some great kids out there. I don't see them guys on no antidepressants. I don't see that. I don't see no guy who come off as he's struggling to get along day to day. I don't see that. I just don't see it like that. As a man who does not have a wife, I'm trying to think about the last time I've ever been quote unquote lonely. If I'm being honest, I cannot remember ever being quote unquote lonely. Now I can remember being alone. Okay, I can remember being alone. I can definitely remember being alone. Can I remember being lonely though? And y'all, maybe I'm not old enough. Maybe I'm just not old enough. Because I can't remember ever being lonely. I don't remember that. I just don't. You know, and I've told y'all before, I'm trying to do better about calling people. Cause I got big family that met a lot of friends over time. And I don't even call people the way I'm supposed to call. I do think I should call people better than what I do. Now I'm good about calling my mom and my dad. I talk to them on a regular basis, y'all. But like everybody else in life, do I call them as much as I should? No, I do not. I talked to my brother yesterday, y'all. When I think about it, I'm like, man, I probably let so much time get. I may not talk to my brother with that particular one. I may not talk to him for about a month, maybe a month and a half. I don't call people the way I should call. I try to do better about this stuff. So I'm glad I talked to my brother yesterday. Yeah, I'm glad. It ain't like I meant to. It wasn't like I meant to do it. I just looked up and I just hadn't talked to him in a long. Now, well, I say this, I have called him a couple times here or there. Well, he called me and we didn't kind of miss each other, but we probably let a month and a half go past without us actually talking to each other on the phone. So yeah, I do try to make some efforts. And I guess what I'm saying here, y'all, is I don't be lonely. I'm so not lonely that I'm trying to make efforts to call people the way I should. What am I implying? I'm implying I don't even call people the way I should call them. So for me to be, if you're lonely, I would think you at least reach out to some people. I'm trying to reach out to people because I know I should talk to people. I want to maintain good relationships with people. But lonely, I just don't. I don't remember that ever. I just don't. Okay. Y'all know it ain't never bothered me. I'm gonna just be real, y'all. Since I was a young man with my first apartment, I'm gonna tell you right now, what ain't never bothered me. Now, what ain't never bothered me was coming home to peace and quiet. I ain't been I ain't been bothered by that yet. Okay, I'm gonna keep it real. Okay, or I'm gonna keep it all the way funky, as they said. I ain't never been bothered by coming home to peace and quiet. Real talk. Okay, I ain't never been bothered coming home to a dark home, y'all. And what do I mean by dark home? You left, you went out, you probably worked, did what you had to do in the world, you ran your errands, whatever the case you did. Now it's nighttime outside. Okay, it's nighttime outside, and maybe you don't come back to 9, 10 o'clock. Everything dark because all the lights was on. So now you in the dark home. I ain't never felt bad about that. You got to come in and turn on the lights yourself. You know, you got to do what you got to do because ain't nobody to do it for you. I ain't never felt bad about that. Just is what it is. Shout out to my main man, Mr. Suge, to you. He said, Roger, my wife's grandfather is about to celebrate his 93rd birthday. Well, shout out to him for that, okay? Straight up, shout out to him for that. He's about to celebrate the 93rd birthday. That's fantastic. Shout out to him. Tell him the Roger Report Live, wish him a happy birthday. Now, he says he credits his longevity to not living with women. Wow. Yeah. Hey, I didn't make this up. This is literally what's in the chat. Let me start over so we can make sure we connect all this together. Roger, my wife's grandfather is about to celebrate his 93rd birthday. He credits his longevity to not living with women the past 50 years. Still, has a daily drink and hits the strip clubs on the weekends. Well, shout out to that 93-year-old brother who I guess truly is enjoying his days. Real talk. And I guess he done had, if I'm doing the math, now, Mr. Sugar, you say, this man is far from lonely. Okay, now, if I'm doing the math, okay, now, y'all know I'm not an accountant. Like, shout out to Black Guru. I ain't an accountant. I can't do it like he can do it, okay? I don't know the numbers like that. But if I'm doing the math right, if I'm doing the math right, okay, you take, okay, you carry the 3. So what he's saying is, this man, he's 93, y'all. He credits not living women the past 50 years. So he done basically went from 43 to 93 when he has his birthday. If I'm doing the math right, he done went from 43 to 93 when he has his birthday. Shout out to you, Ryan. This time he's like, don't forget to don't forget to square root it, Roger. Okay, y'all. I done put down my T-square and my level to figure out that this man been in the cliff since about the age of 43 years old. And he out here having a ball. Since the age of 43 years old, he been out here having a ball. Okay. He 93. And we got eyewitness testimony that he ain't having an issue at all with loneliness. Okay. Even if he ain't got an issue at all. Oh, woo, y'all. I ain't got enough trig available to me to figure out how he been happy for this long. He been happy for 50 consecutive years, y'all. Y'all understand y'all understand what is being told to us right now? He been happy for 50 consecutive years. Not 5 years here, then there's a break, and then 3 years of problems. Not 8 years over there, then there's a break, and then there's 2 years of problem. He done had 50 consecutive years of a good time. Okay, 50 consecutive years of a good time. Shout out to that man. Real talk, y'all. Shout out to that man. Okay. Shout out to Mr. Suge to you, y'all. It take a real man to say this, Mr. Suge, to you. It take a real man to say this in the public chat, y'all. Look what this real man done had to say, y'all. He say, I got smashed with him and his sons over the past weekend. Drank me under the table. See, it take a real man to admit that, y'all. The 93-year-old with his sons, you know what I'm saying? They kicking it over the weekend. He's 93 and drinking people under the table. Now, shout out to that man. Shout out to that man. Now, that's not going to be my plans at 93. I don't plan to be drinking people under the table at 93. We'll see what happens, but that's definitely not in my plan. But shout out to that brother who having a good time with his sons and the son-in-law, and they kicking it over the weekend. But y'all, we got to be aware of the black male loneliness problem. We got to be aware of it, though. Never mind the fact that we got a brother out here with 50 consecutive years of peace. Never mind that. Never mind the fact I just told you about a brother. I'm trying to meet him at his home, and I got to get him to lead a bar so he come handle his business. And like I said, if my memory right, he was going back to the bar. Okay. I had to call him from the bar so he can handle his business, y'all. Okay. Now, I'm not saying everybody got to spend their time at the bar. I ain't saying everybody got to be a drinker. I'm just saying, when I think about black male loneliness, I understand a narrative. I just don't see it in real life, y'all. Remember I said, when something is prevalent in real life, you're going to start to see signs of it. You're going to start to see signs. Okay. All right. People say something about fat Americans. Now, I didn't say I'm trying to lose weight myself, because you got the fat American thing. But do I see fat Americans? Yeah, I do. I see fat Americans. Okay. I see that, because it's supposed to be prevalent. So I don't have to, quote unquote, and ask people where they get their research from to come up with the fact that we got fat Americans out there. Okay. I see them. Okay. I don't need to check with nobody. Now, when you tell me about this loneliness issue, especially amongst black men, because I see the women pushing it, this loneliness issue we supposed to have, I just don't see the evidence, y'all. I don't see that. Now, and keep in mind, I'm not a person who's just dealing with a small group of people. I'm a person that deals with all people. I deal with the public, y'all. I go meet these older men. I literally meet them. Okay? I literally meet these guys. And I just can't see evidence of, of a loneliness issue. I can't. And y'all, believe it or not, some of these older guys, they out here, they still on these hoes. Y'all, they still on these hoes. They got their own place. They doing what they want to do. They living a peaceful life. Now, granted, ain't nobody right there next to them to cook up, to wake up and make them breakfast in the morning. They make their own breakfast, y'all. But they seem so happy. I'm just keeping it real, y'all. They seem so happy. They done made their own breakfast, and yet they seem so happy. Real talk. Okay? A lot of them are doing stuff that they missed out doing early in life because they was too busy handling business. It wasn't a bad thing. They not, super regretful or anything like that. They just be like, yeah, no, I would go through I always want to do that when I was younger. I was working at the time, couldn't do it. I was in the military at the time, couldn't do it. I was running some corporation, couldn't do it. But I got time now. You know what I'm saying? I got time now. I ain't never heard a brother regret waking up not being married. I'm not saying marriage is a bad thing, y'all. I'm a very pro-marriage person. I am not telling y'all that marriage is a bad thing. I'm a very pro-marriage person. But I am going to realistically say I have never met a man who said anything about how he regretted not getting married. I ain't met that dude. Now, again, maybe if I look hard enough, like I'm looking for a guy with no legs. If I look hard enough, I can come up with it. Okay? Maybe I'll find that guy who'll say, yeah, I regret never getting married. I don't know him. I haven't met him. I don't remember meeting nobody telling me nothing like that. Okay? I don't remember seeing it amongst anybody. I don't, y'all. I've met some men who were ready to die, but they didn't say anything about regretting not getting married. Okay? I've met some men getting ready to die. They didn't say they regretted not having children. That ain't the type of stuff I heard. I heard I'm ready to go because my people is gone. I've heard stuff like that, y'all. I'm ready to go because my people is gone. My buddies, they done died off already. I'm the last one. Okay, my friends and family that I really kick it with, they done died off already. I'm the last one. So now I'm ready to go. They didn't say I'm ready to go because I feel sick. They didn't say I'm ready to go because life has treated me terribly. They said I'm ready to go because I'm the last of the Mohicans. That's all it was at the end of the day. I'm the last one. I didn't marry and I didn't have children, so I'm the last one. My peeps done died off already. So, I'm ready to go now. It didn't sound crazy to me at all. All the people that he's developed the relationships with over time have already transitioned and moved to the other side. So he ready to transition and move to the other side. Now, if they live their life the right way, the next side gonna be a great time. But what I have not heard is that I regret not having a wife or even some children, so I would still have somebody here. That I haven't heard. But there's supposed to be a black male loneliness problem. Okay? I can't tell you 100% for truth that it's just total malarkey. But what I can say, if it's not total malarkey, we should be able to find a bunch of evidence of it. Okay? We should be able to find a bunch of evidence. I ain't seen no evidence. That's the crazy part for me. I ain't seen no evidence at all. Okay? Now, shout out to my main man, Red Pill Sleeper Cell. He just came through with the $15 Cash App. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much. Appreciate you big time. Appreciate you big time. Also, shout out to wait a minute now. Somebody showing out here. Somebody showing out. Okay. My main man, Inspired Truth Broadcast, hit me with the 50 on the Cash App. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you, my brother. He's doing it big for me. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Okay. My main man, Red Pill Sleeper Cell. And my main man, Inspired Truth Broadcast. Y'all hooking the brother up right now. Y'all hooking the brother up. Definitely appreciate it, y'all. Definitely appreciate it. Real talk. Okay. Now, again, y'all, I'm never gonna say marriage is bad. That's just not me. I'm not saying growing old with your wife is not a beautiful thing. You ain't gonna hear me saying stuff like that. I understand why some men don't want to do that stuff anymore. They can't trust the women at the end of the day. I get it. And the women give y'all a bunch of good reasons not to trust them. So I do get it. I do get it. But I'm never gonna say marriage a bad thing. But what I am gonna say is I've met brothers who are not married. Some of them didn't even have children. And they just don't seem to have this quote unquote male loneliness problem. They seem to be kicking it, man. They got these apartments buildings sometimes, y'all. Well, y'all see these apartment buildings with like a lot of older people living in the apartment buildings. It's like they group together, whatnot. Yeah, and matter of fact, shout out to Kevin 3905. Kevin said it's too many spades and domino tables under trees for men to be lonely. Shout out to you, because I was just about to bring that up. Real talk, y'all. You go to these buildings where, I'm not saying it's an old people building, but it's like the old people kind of go there. You know what I'm saying? So, you got this room on on the first floor of the building. You got this lounge area and whatnot. Y'all know they got the spades games going on. They out there talking crazy to each other, slapping down the dominoes. Y'all know that happens, right? Okay. Now, I understand we supposed to believe that there's this issue about black male loneliness. I do get that. I do get that. But the spades table say otherwise. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. The spades table say otherwise. Okay? Brothers be having some interesting discussions. This person was the greatest football player ever. This person was the greatest quarterback. This was the greatest wide receiver. This was the greatest cornerback. You have interesting discussions from perspectives of men who've seen generations of people play football. They have some heavy discussions sometimes. Okay? Not about football, other sports as well. Okay? Boy. Shout out to Hiram Revels. He say, link, please. Did I not put the link in again, y'all? Am I slipping? Because y'all, this is like the third day in a row. Somebody's going to ask me for the link. Now, I'm going to say the other 2 days, the link was there. I wasn't slipping. Okay, the link was there. Now I got to go check and make sure that I actually got a link in this joint. Okay, my bad, but links are necessary. Links are necessary. And I do apologize if I do slip up on the link, y'all. I do apologize if I do slip up on the link. Okay. Okay, but yeah, we've been having a little bit of trouble when it comes to the link. So let me grab something and put a link out there from Mr. Hiram Revels who wants to join the panel. I got you. Just give me a moment, sir. Just give me a moment. Okay. And shout out to Mr. Suge to you who said the link isn't clippable. So I don't know what's going on with that, y'all. I really don't know what's going on with that. I do apologize since it's my channel. I do apologize, but I'm gonna get this taken care of as quickly as I can, my brother. As quickly as I can. All right. But what I am saying though, y'all, these things be going on. Okay, these things be going on. And when I see these things going on, I just don't see the evidence of black men who are lonely. I don't see it. Okay. Maybe somewhere out there in the world, if you just look long enough and hard enough and strong enough, you can find a black man who's lonely. Okay. Maybe he is 65 years old and he ain't been to work in 6 months. Maybe he just recently retired. And maybe you can find him being lonely. And I'm saying maybe you could find him because you know what? I would have trouble because I done been out here in the world. I done met these older guys. And what I have not seen is a loneliness issue. I have not seen that. And I'm just saying real talk, y'all. So I know that they pushing this stuff like it's supposed to be some prevalent issue that men have to worry about. And I know they're trying to make men, feel bad about not doing this or not doing that and not marrying this woman, even though you don't want to take care of her. Okay. They try to make us feel bad about a lot of stuff for somebody else's benefit. But as a black man who deals with people out there in the world of all ages, with the brothers I've come across, I have not seen anything to make me believe that they're lonely. I just ain't seen it, y'all. Okay? Maybe you saw it, but I ain't seen it. Okay? Maybe you saw it, but I ain't seen it. Okay? Yeah, I just threw the link in the chat, y'all. I just threw the link in the chat. Okay? So, like the other 2 days, the links for some reason wasn't working in the description because I usually put a link in the description, but I put it in the chat. So hopefully that'll do it. And I'll try to drop the link on a regular basis because I don't know what's going on, y'all. I don't know what's going on with that. So that ain't a me thing, at least as far as I know. I don't know why that's happening that way. But obviously it's been happening that way because this is the third day that this has come up, that this has been an issue. So I just don't know. But hopefully we figure it out and get it taken care of. Hopefully, But H Rebels has now come up to join us. So I guess he about to tell us how lonely he is because we supposed to have this black male loneliness issue. That I just can't seem to find evidence of. And let me say, shout out to Sir Anthony. Great to see you in the live chat, brother. Shout out to Sir Anthony. Great to see you in the live chat. H Rebels, you got it, my brother. How you doing?
Hey, hello, Roger. Shout out to you. I've been listening to the commentary. I was doing some other stuff, but while I was working and getting some stuff, administrative work done, I was listening to your commentary. I'm gonna have to agree with you though, that there's not an epidemic of lonely men or lonely black men. Look, this is what I suspect is happening, right? There has been some crosstalk and crossover as it relates to black men who have their life squared away, who planned for their retirement, who did what they were supposed to do in their 30s, 40s, 50s, going into their 60s, and then they get into their later ages. They've already planned for, their end of life, right? They've already planned for that. Those guys are not the issue. They're not the problem. We're not talking about those guys. Those guys may have been married. They may not have been married. Whatever it is they got going on, those guys are fine. what people are doing is they're comparing this to like the gentlemen who end up in the nursing home by themselves with no visitors, and I see a lot of comparisons there. When we talk about this quote unquote loneliness epidemic, the other thing that people do also is they talk about these young men who are having trouble interacting with women. Why they're doing that, I don't know. If you're a young man and you're having trouble interacting with women or getting women to be attracted to you, just talk to an older man who's got it together. Somebody in your family, somebody you trust, who's not hating on you, and he can give you advice on what it is you can do in order to get to the point where you can attract women that's relatively close to your station in life. That's literally it. So there's confusion between those men, the men who can't get it done, and then the ones who are end up in nursing homes by themselves with no visitors and didn't plan to actually and didn't do the right thing in order to set themselves up for their end of life transition. So because I was gonna be one of those guys. All right, I'm married now. I remarried, right? And one of the things that I kind of advise people against doing is getting online and talking about their personal life too much, in the sense that what people do is they take the information that you give them and then they try to use it to either insult you or discredit you, what it is you're trying to say or your points, right? So you just kind of go with either data or just general information, right? But you guys are okay. You guys don't do stuff like that. When men talk and we kind of talk about our personal experiences, men don't have the tendency to try to take that information and use it against each other. But at any rate, that's what I see is I suspect is going on, and that's how I would relate this quote unquote loneliness man epidemic, because I agree with you. There's not anything like that really going on with the guys who've planned out their lives correctly, who've done what they're supposed to do and plan for the end of life transition, and then the young men who are up and coming and actually doing what they're supposed to do. They're not lonely at all. So it's mainly the people who ain't got it together. Those are the guys who are kind of caught in the loop, and in reality, those guys are even few and far between. One thing I noticed, and I know I'll go ahead and pass it on to somebody else, is that whenever something bad is going on, it's like those guys get the most attention, and they get the most notoriety, and they have the loudest voices. So it makes it seem like the problem is bigger than what it is. I'll go ahead and stop right there.
And I'm just gonna say, I understand a logical look trying to figure out how this could be true, but am I supposed to believe it's a bunch of guys at the nurse home complaining that they at the nurse home? That's just I can get people to make up a story like that, but let's keep it real. The guy at the nursing home, he's not talking about stuff like this because he's at a nursing home. Okay, so they're not getting it from the guys at the nursing home. I seriously doubt that one. I'm just keeping it real. I seriously doubt they're getting that from the guys at the nursing home. And I'm meeting the guys who at their regular home, and they don't seem to have no issues. So I literally think, and I'm being honest as I possibly can, y'all, I'm thinking they just making this stuff up. This is things that women are going through because they are lonely. That's why they buying so many antidepressants and all that type of stuff. And I don't think guys are being bothered. And I think they want guys to start concerning themselves with what's going on with the women. Because especially amongst black men, they understand black men worry about women far more than what they need to. So they putting this out there so we'll start thinking about them. But I ain't met no lonely brother. I just have not. And I'm just being for real. I work with the public. I go to places all the time. I ain't met one lonely brother out there. Now, I have met a guy who showed off some stuff to me. He got some stuff from way back in the day. I got men who showed off stuff from the 1800s. Okay. That's a normal thing. I told y'all before, when I guess we lost that broadcast, but I told y'all not recently, I met even a white guy who was showing off. Now, his family was on the Confederate side, but he was still showing off stuff that his family had. And he even showed me a sword that his what was like great grandpa or something like that was fighting in the Civil War with. He was on the Confederate side, but he showed me his sword. People show off some old stuff sometimes.
So, it's going to be a saber, Roger. Yeah, that's all. It's a saber, not a sword.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate. That's why I like having you around.
Yeah.
Appreciate
sword you. Is different. They're two different types of weapons, but they're similar but different.
Okay, so there you go. People will show off some older stuff, but lonely. I just don't see brothers out here lonely like that. I just don't see it. But Black Guru has come up and Shark Sanders come up, so I'm gonna go ahead and give them the mic and let them do their thing. So Black Uru, you got it, my brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Roger. I hope I'm coming in clear without echoes. Please let me know.
Nah, you sound fantastic right now.
Problem. Okay, thanks. Good to hear that. Hope you, Shark and Neville's and the folks in the public chat are doing well. Well, I have a lot of thoughts about uh, this loneliness issue, so I won't pile them on. I guess I like to start with a question or definition. What is meant by lonely? I keep hearing this term of men being lonely and loneliness and loneliness epidemic, but nobody ever really kind of defines the term with respect to how people are living, particularly how men are living, and how is this loneliness thing encroaching or intruding on their lives, impacting their lives. I mean, nobody really ever really defines it. They talk about things that men aren't doing, particularly dating or broader socializing in the traditional way. But those are not. But men retracting from those activities are not proof of any sort that they're quote lonely. You know, again, what is the definition? It'd be interesting to hear somebody first define loneliness and describe how it looks and manifests or would manifest in men, and then see whether or not there's any actual real evidence that men are materially lonely, more lonely than they had been in sort of previous years and previous generations. So I am my opening statement there.
I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, and that makes a whole lot of sense. Real talk, that makes a whole lot of sense. But we do have my main man Shark Sims here. So, Shark, right before you give your opening statement, shout out to my main man Ryan Disciple. He comes through with the Cash App, $20 on the Cash App. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you big time. Appreciate you big time. All right, Shark, you got it, my brother.
Hey, what's up, everybody? H-Reb, Black Uru, how you doing today? I think it's a big gaslighting propaganda tool right now. Men are built to be alone. We love being alone. We never lonely, and I'm realizing women, they do a lot of projecting, and they got the society on their side too, because now these stories is coming out. Men are never lonely, and I think I was talking to Naima one day, and I was telling them how they gaslighting men across the board. So now they saying men are lonely. Yesterday they were saying men have erectile dysfunction. You know what the problem is? And I hope I can name these names, but the guys who invented the black manosphere, you, City, BGS, yourself, Uru, y'all broke the matrix. Men don't cherish women anymore unless women are bringing something to our life. Men aren't chasing behind women, just sitting in the park watching women no more, unless they're bringing something to their life. The only time men are really trying to do that stuff is when they retire and they then live their life. They want to go sit in the park and just watch chicks jog around the goddamn track. Productive men of all races have woken up due to the manosphere. And chasing vagina is not something we do. So they look at it as men are lonely because we're not around women. No, men are happy because we're not around women. And in this day and time, you only got to be around a woman when you want sex now. You don't even got to work for sex like you had to 20 years ago. So, hey, we go to work, we chum it up, we come on the Roger Report, we chop it up. No women around. They think we lonely. They think we don't have nobody to talk to. Little do they know. Little do they know. It's all gaslighting. Like Uru said before you said that. It's all gaslighting.
All right, I'm gonna say. Well, first of all, let me say this is the black manosphere over here because the manosphere is including a bunch of white people, and we don't quite get along, and we're not connected in any way. A black manosphere had to happen because white guys were being too white. I'll just say they were being too white, so we had to have a black manosphere. So it is what it is on that note. Now, shout out to Ryan Decipher. He says, I think that society and women have forgotten and or underestimate how pragmatic men can be during turbulent times. I wonder what our government is going to do about it. Future bachelor tax? And I don't think a bachelor tax will ever come into play because it's not going to be a bachelor tax. It'll be like stuff attached to other things because it won't be a straight up bachelor tax, but they'll tax things that men like. That'll be like the bachelor tax.
What they'll do is they'll label. This is the trick they'll play. They'll label things that men enjoy as a vice of some sort, or attach some sort of so-called negative socio-economic rating to things that men enjoy. I can definitely foresee some attempt to be done with a video game, for example. And then they use that as a basis and justification for excessive taxation and fees and potential penalties, etc. That's how they'll attempt to do it. Whether it'll succeed, I'm beginning to lose belief that it will be as successful as they may attempt for it to be, because men are retracting so much, and men are becoming, in general, younger men in general, becoming more conservative across the board, which makes it more difficult to execute government programming. So I think they will try to do it. They may try to do it on an insidious level or insidious levels, but it'll be interesting to see how effective it is, especially over the long term. No, I think that the society is moving to some hard decisions about women. Moving to some very hard decisions. Trump is making some hard decisions about women that are going to influence this whole notion and argument of loneliness, because as Shark said, I mean, this is a major sort of gaslighting. It's sort of a reverse gaslight. The women are the ones who are lonely, not the men.
Thank you.
I definitely agree with that. Shout out to Kevin3905. He says there was a medical study on ED. What they found was that a cure for ED is a ticket to Brazil.
Yo, they don't realize how intolerable women have become, to the point where men don't even want to be around y'all. We rather just chill out. And I was telling my man, I said, yo, think about it. These women have they come to the table talking about take me as I am, no body shaming. You shouldn't be mad at me for wearing my bonnet. I could wear any color hair. That shit is a turn off. On top of that, argumentative. That's not gonna make anybody dick get hard.
And I think there's a lot of gaslighting going on because, well, number one, they probably didn't expect the response that men in general are making as largely as it has become. And I say to women all the time who think something crazy or wrong, and I say, I'm a man, you a woman. And we agree with that, right? They say, yeah. I say, so if we go on the first date, you want me to ask you out, not the other way around, right? Yeah, that's what we want. Okay, so you want me to pay for the first date too, right? And they say, yeah, that's what we want. I say, so how do you get me to pay for something I want to pay for? And then they start looking at me a little, well, what you mean? If I don't like you, if I don't like your attitude, if I don't like how you present yourself, I don't like how you wear your hair. I don't like, because some guys gonna make it. I don't make an issue about the weave, but some guys gonna make an issue about weave. Some guys gonna make an issue about a bonnet. Some guys gonna make an issue about a particular hairstyle. Whatever it is, whatever clothes you got on, I got a problem with how you present yourself to the world. Now I don't want to take you anywhere looking like that. How you get me to spend my money to take you someplace, especially with the fact that y'all want me to take you where y'all want to go instead of just going where I take you? Because you do understand a lot of women do that, and they say, yeah, they will agree. A lot of women will try to get a man to take them to a particular place. So how do you get me to spend all this money on stuff that I don't want to do at all? How do you solve that problem?
You asking us the question, or you throwing it
No,
in
no,
the air?
I've asked women the question.
Oh,
I talk to different people. That sometimes it'd be like group setting things that I go to, and sometimes I just talk to women on the streets as a group. And I just say, okay, if we gonna agree to all these different things, which they don't have no real issue agreeing to, because they want somebody to ask them out, they want somebody to take them on the date, they want to go to where they want to go to, and they don't want to pay for it. So as the man, how do you get me to do this stuff when I don't want to pay for it? There's nothing guaranteed for me. We understand sex ain't no guarantee. So if I take you out, you may give me some, you may not give me some. Everybody say you don't owe me nothing. Cool. So if I have nothing to, if I have no real expectation to get anything, how do you get me as a man to take you somewhere that I don't even technically want to go to and spend my money while I'm doing it?
this is what I'm saying. Women don't realize that they have broken their toy.
Well, so men operate off of incentives, right? If there's no incentive or even a return on investment or very little return on the investment, then there's no, you don't have, what's the incentive? Like there's got to be something beneficial for all of that effort. And you would think that women would understand that, right?
No,
But if you understand that, but you don't care.
BGS,
Go ahead.
I think BGS explained the biggest fundamental change. The thing that really kind of, I mean, everything, things are accumulation of things over time. But I think he is right about one key event that radically changed everything. I think COVID radically changed everything because it changed the pattern of, well, all of us to some degree, but particularly it kind of broke the spell of women in a way because it showed a lot of men, especially a lot of young men, that they can survive rather comfortably without having to, do the monkey game of women. That they can survive on their corn, the virtual stuff. I don't, you guys know the name of the stuff and fleshlights. I mean, now us older guys may wince at that kind of thing, but these younger guys, whatever they basically created a way a supplement to the necessity. They created supplements to the necessity of females. And the problem with that distance that COVID created is it not only changed habits that you would have had, it changes, it allows you to evaluate the value of things. And what happens is you say, well, okay, before I was spending $500, $600 on the weekend. Now I'm spending 20, 30, 40 bucks on the weekend. I mean, you start doing cost benefit analysis, right? And okay, now I got my Bitcoin portfolio up, I got all the video games I would ever want in life, right? If I gotta hit something, I go hit an escort or something, or if I'm that kind of guy, maybe I can maneuver around in the dating app realm. But it's all very kind of efficient. It's much more efficient than it would have been, I think, prior to COVID. So while I think all the other issues about the women, obviously women are just trash, comparatively speaking. But I think COVID allowed a lot of younger men in particular to say, I don't really need these bitches to have a decent life. I don't really need it. Like I psychologically thought I needed.
So the other part of that,
I agree with you to an extent, Uru, but I don't think it was COVID that did it because I had a chick in the crib for the whole COVID, bouncing different chicks in and out to do the dating apps. I think it's the fact that we've seen chicks talking in our face on this internet thing, talking about men ain't this, men ain't that. It's only but so much a man is gonna let you talk crap in their face long. You know what I mean? like me and you chopping it up and we start and I'm just talking all kinds of crap. It's
But
only but
how
so
old
long
are you?
before you
How,
grab me
how
up by
old?
my neck and try
How
to throw
old
me
are
over
you?
the counter. Hmm?
How old are you? You're in your 40s,
45.
right?
Yeah.
See, I'm talking about young men. I'm not talking about us old players. Because yeah,
No,
to us
even
old
the
guys,
young
COVID was a whole different kind of. But I'm just saying,
no,
yeah,
even
you
for the
had
young
some
dudes, they
men
was
who
out in
were
the
in the.
streets and during COVID. Like in New York City, there was a
But
lot of
I'm
conclave
saying there
where
was I'm saying
go finish
for
talking. I'm
many
listening.
people. I mean, everybody's different. I'm saying for many young men, and especially those who are a little less socially fluent, because let's be real, they don't depend on the guys who can get it. The society ain't built up on the guys who can get it, no matter the circumstance. The society is built on the other 80% of guys who ain't quite as fluid with it, and
I agree.
needed that old program of dating and buying shit and buying flowers and stuff like that. That's the majority of guys, not the guys that can get out there on the streets and get it. So I mean, I think I understand what you're saying, but
I
I'm
agree.
saying
I
there was a
understand
whole
what you're
lot of
saying
other
too.
guys.
I agree with you.
Yeah, they became OnlyFans customers, whatever, all that kind of stuff, and they just got out of the pattern of I gotta go and do all this stuff for women, and they come to the point where yeah, they just aren't. In addition to everything else you've said, all the crazy talking, and Kevin Samuels, people have views about him and some of the things he said, but I think he was a very important figure because he really pulled back the veil on this thing, particularly with these black women, to the point in which, you ended up kind of disgusted by what you saw and heard. So I think all the
I
things, like I said, especially the event of COVID, really kind of highlighted and accelerated things to where we are right now.
Well,
And I
I want
think
to.
it was. I could say I understand what you're saying. Like COVID gave people the opportunity because we was having Kevin Samuels watch parties during COVID was going on. Like me and my crew, we in there smoking bud and all that, watching this. Like what the hell? And like you said, some of them never
Yeah.
even understood. Like that was their first time seeing it. Like oh shit, this is real. Like yeah, nigga, and she's beautiful, ain't she? Yeah, she got a good job, don't she? Yeah, but she don't mess with you.
Well,
And she's
I'm gonna
just
say,
awful. She's fucking
yeah, I'm
awful.
gonna say this too. That there's, and then I'm gonna get our brother in here who then came up. I'm gonna say this too. As a young man, y'all think about it from a different perspective. Think about being the guy when COVID happened. You are 25 and down. Okay, you 25 and down. You just know what people done kind of told you about women. You done had a little bit of experience in some high school, maybe in some college, whatever. Maybe a little bit just as a fully free adult. Okay. But now here comes the time where your job shut down. You're not getting up going nowhere every day. Your job shut down for a month or two or whatever the case is. They got to see if you consider essential or whatever the case is. You got to go home for a while. Now you sitting at home and you seeing that all these women are saying all this stuff that you never paid attention to on the internet, but now you seeing it because you're browsing through social media more than you would normally do. You're seeing certain shows that you wouldn't normally watch. OnlyFans then came into play, and then the girls you went to school with is on there. You start seeing people you actually was in high school with. You see girls who are actually in college taking class with you, and they on OnlyFans now. You're starting to get it like that world start coming to you. You wasn't looking for it; it came to you. You was just at the crib chilling, and next thing you know, three of the girls that was in your science class, they on OnlyFans now. You know, the chick that was in college with you, in your study group, she on OnlyFans now. So it got real crazy real fast. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of brothers, and they saw something that they just couldn't unsee. But let me throw the mic to Red Pill Sleeper Cell. You got the mic, my brother. How you doing? Red Pill Sleeper Cell, it's on you, brother.
Your
Are
mic
y'all
is
hearing?
breaking up or something.
We get no audio. We get no. I'm not getting audio. Y'all getting audio from him?
Nah, we just got a picture, no audio, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're not getting your audio, brother. We see you talking, but we're not hearing anything.
Bounce off and come back. Maybe it might be a connection.
Well, no, he may have just. Yeah, I don't, say something right now. Just say something right now. I think he may have unmuted. Yeah, sorry, brother. We not hearing you. We not hearing you. Well, you know how I go. Come on back, and we got you. Come on back, and we got you, because we not hearing anything right now. Unfortunately. So I guess I'll turn it over to Ashy Ashy Larry for now. Ashy, you got it, brother.
Salute to you, Roger. Salute to the panel.
I knew it was this one.
Who else is gonna be? Who else is gonna be?
I hope everybody's doing well. And
You know what? Let me just say this real quick. I didn't even check anything to say, is this him at all? I just knew Ashy Larry, it can't be nobody but him. But go ahead.
I hope everybody's doing well. And
Dave.
I just Roger, I mean, if we first of all invest in lotion, because the lotion game is going up between the nigga streak offs and apparently niggas being happy, peaceful, and fun from loneliness. You know, get pop your bank right now, invest in your favorite lotion because it's going sky high. Now, I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree a little bit.
Massage oil, the coconut oil.
The coconut oil, baby oil, jerkin for jerkins, all that. I jerkin for jerkins, Durex, KY jelly, but KY jelly is normally if you into that cat and gerbil stuff. So, but anyway, I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree, Roger, because until I get like some kind of app or something, my meat don't suck itself. So I'm never gonna be. It will be fun, but I don't know no man that has ever experienced peace without his meat getting gnawed on every once in a while. And I pass the mic on that.
Wait, run that back. You said you never met a man that peace. Say that
I
again.
never met a man that has fully lived in peace without his meat getting gnawed on. Like, for example, Harry Belichick, 71, 74, 24-year-old gnawing on his meat. Barack Obama, constantly getting disrespected, but Michelle's gnawing on Tracy Ellis meat. There you go.
Okay, well, I'm gonna throw it out there, brother. It's a lot of older men out here. They still own these hoes, so they have a life where they got their own house, apartment, condo, whatsoever, and they still got hoes. So I don't even think that's really that much of an issue.
Oh, okay. I thought when we talk about loneliness means like no female interaction whatsoever.
What I'm saying, they're pushing this blackmail loneliness, but I don't even see that in the real world. I see guys who ain't really messing with women and they seem happy. The guys who got a few hoes seem happy. They all seem to be happy.
Oh yeah. Then I'm with it because look, suck and go home is always a nice option.
Yeah, I ain't met no. Whatever the situation was, I just ain't met a brother who had an issue. But let's give it back to Red Pill Sleeper Cell. Hopefully his audio goes right for us this time. You got the mic, my brother. Oh Lord, we still not getting it, man. I don't know what it is. We still not getting you. We see you. We see you talking.
Yeah, we see you got the fresh baldy and all that. I gotta cut. You gonna make me cut my joint? I gotta.
Yeah.
But yeah,
maybe he on that maybe it's a New York trash signal. Now I'll just be joking about New York, y'all.
Yeah, he fucked up for that.
Well, he was in New York the other day. We know for sure he was in New York the other day. We know that he went down in Central Park to see the Big Bertha. I don't know what they call him, Big Bertha out there, the 12-foot statue, but he did go out to see the 12-foot statue.
Oh, that thing's still up?
Times Square.
That's temporary, by the way. That's a temporary exhibit. So is it still getting?
I'm
still getting some play?
I got a petition for them to leave it up.
Yeah. It's already caused enough trouble. They need to go ahead and let it run its course and take it down.
No, leave it
So
up.
while you
That statue itself is why men need erectile dysfunction pills.
Yeah. So while he's working that the tech issue, so here's the thing. There's a lot of projection going on the women's side, by the way, Roger. So because if you do like a quick just a quick search on this male loneliness epidemic, it doesn't really mention race, but they're talking about it. They're talking about it in terms of what degenerative health conditions for men, being lonely, basically them nobody checking up on them. And the other part of it too is the other side effect or negative side effect is self-termination, like increased self-termination. Now, that's not necessarily seen. And now when you start adding that, that's not a black man problem, right? We're talking about other races of men, particularly white men, right? And none of it's good, by the way.
No, but self-deletion is on the rise for
everybody.
For black men,
Yeah, it is. But I mean, I just kind of wanted to point that it is on the rise. But look, black men get hit with so much from early on in life. Starting when we're about 12 years old, like self-termination is like one of the last things, right? It either happens very early or towards the end of your life. But when we're in the middle of it, we're not gonna. That's the last thing we're thinking about. By the way, black men, don't give society the satisfaction of terminating your own life. Don't give them that satisfaction.
Yeah, but it's normally due to work, not loneliness, though. I just want to throw that out there. It's normally due to work.
Yeah,
but
I mean, so, a lot of the self-deletion thing occurs because the woman has taken his children and his pension and shit from him. It ain't because he's lonely. It's because he's had all his shit taken from him.
Yeah, there's usually some major life event. It's either towards the end of your life or early, but gentlemen more towards in the middle. They're like, look, I got to deal with this problem. I'm gonna work my way through it. And if they can't figure it out, that's when they get to that. Okay, now I gotta get to the final solution, on that problem, because everything else is just going to hell and they just can't fix it. But black men generally, that's not really our thing. So I kind of want to put that out. But that's how they're framing it in terms of like it's a health crisis or it's a health issue.
It's just gaslighting. First,
yeah,
they said men aren't approaching women, and now they saying men are lonely.
Well, the other part of it too is that it relates more to women in the sense that men are more linked to resources, and taking care of other people, which we don't mind doing as long as we're responsible for those people, right? And a bunch of men by themselves and not really connected to family is not really good for the overall economy because money doesn't get spent.
It ain't good for the hoes. We fine. It ain't good for the hoes.
Yeah, and if you're an older gentleman and you never married, you have no kids, that doesn't mean you're not going to interact with your family, your nieces, your nephews. That doesn't mean you're not going to mentor other young men. You're not going to be willing to help them out, or you're not going to be linked to like organizations. There's going to be something that men can actually find something productive to do. And one of the good things about being a man is that I'm not going to say loneliness. We deal with isolation and solitude better than women, right? We and now it's a good thing and a bad thing in the sense that if a man goes too long in isolation and away from people, then he's going to get used to that, and that's how he'll live out the rest of his life. Not necessarily like a hermit. He'll interact with people, but if he's not connected to anybody, any family or any organizations or even extended family or friends or anything to that effect, they're fine with that too. So it's not so much a loneliness issue as much as it is, their concern, overall societal concern is men withdrawing from society and not moving the economy along and keeping things moving, not keeping communities together and all this other stuff. If you have too many men that are not connected to families, organizations, communities, this, that, and the third, then it becomes an overall problem for society. So now they're trying to frame it as like this is some epidemic, like we need to be concerned. If it's a big concern, then basically you need to get the women. You need to convince the women to link up with the men, and give them some and give them incentives to actually do things in support of this overall effort that you're trying to achieve. But if you're not going to give them any incentives, then what's the point?
They're not giving them incentives because they understand women don't listen. Period. So they gotta try. They're trying to talk to the more logical beast, which is us. But shaming us and trying to trick us into stuff ain't working.
What they get mad at us for being comfortable because we sitting over here comfortable. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like we just quote unquote withdrawing for women and not doing anything. We sitting over here comfortably withdrawing for women. You just watch more movies, you play more video games, you go to more events, you have a good time. The issue is that we are enjoying ourselves, but the type of enjoyment that we do is a little cheaper and it doesn't move the whole economy the way they want the economy to move. So they're trying to stop us from being comfortable because the men who are quote unquote lonely, which I can't see evidence of them being lonely, them guys having a good time. I'm just telling y'all. From what I can tell, they're having a good time. So they're enjoying their peace and they're relaxing and they seem to be a-okay. Now, Inspired Truth Broadcast is here, so let me let him get the flow. You got it, my brother.
Thank you. Just want to say peace to the chat and also give my greetings to the host. Glad to see you back. Um, I'm gonna try to see if I can wrap this up as fast as possible because, like, if I can get this out of my head and into the world in 2 minutes, that'll be the most amazing thing that I've seen in a while. What we have is something called a moral panic. Like this is something that we've seen like back in like the 80s and 70s and even some little bit of that in the 90s. But so you have the idea of creating a panic so that you can make men more desperate, so that you can make them more controllable, manipulate them, all of that good stuff there. But then on the other side of that, you have women and their choices, bad choices that had deleterious consequences. So you have that blame factor, that blame feature going on. You have two things going on at the same time. You have the opportunity to try to create desperation so that you can manipulate, and then you have the other side where you can take all of these negative deleterious consequences and then dump them on somebody else while keeping your absolute freedom so that you can make some more bad choices.
I think you did that rather well.
I tried.
You had an amazing 2 minutes. I think you did that rather well. You know, and I definitely can agree with that. That because those sentiments are definitely being pushed in there, and I think it's what people did not perceive that when these guys go off by themselves, they get real comfortable by themselves. It's I'm not saying men ain't seeing women at all, but it's a whole lot easier just to call her, go over there for an hour or two and come back home, or get her to come to your place for an hour or two and somehow get her to leave. That got real comfortable for me. And I don't think people expect it to be as comfortable as it has been for me. And other than that, you kind of stayed away. And for someone like myself, and I know everybody ain't gonna be like me, when I did sit back and play Call of Duty, hours have gone. Do y'all know I didn't think about a woman for all those hours in a row? As long as I played it, there was no thought about women. Maybe we crack a joke amongst men here and there about a female, but it wasn't a whole lot of talking about no women. We was talking about the game, what the strategy was, how we gonna take out the other team, laughing at people for getting shot up. But women wasn't really part of that picture. So you enjoy yourself and you don't even think about women. 6 hours that went by and ain't a woman been thought about. I don't think women like that as an idea. But
Well, what we're seeing is play out is kind of like a comedy. We're seeing people use an old playbook in a new framework, and it's blowing up in their face, and it's kind of funny.
What else is going on is that men can actually get together. Men who don't even know each other, by the way, get together for an event and interact in a friendly and nice way. And there not be any commotion or problems, and especially if there's something that if it's around sports or some type of activity that men enjoy. We don't have to know your background. We don't have to know any details about you. We just interact with you for that day or two or that weekend, and then maybe we'll form some type of informal network. But I've had conversations with men. All I did was meet them at the airport and just start having a conversation.
Yeah, well,
and we're talking 10 to 15 minutes before we even get that.
Here's the other social aspect of what you described. We just at the airport talking, um, shooting the breeze. I ain't never met you before. You ain't never met me. You're a Bears fan. I'm a Packers fan. We supposed to hate each other's guts. We talking about how maybe the season's gonna go, and the next thing you know, we're buying each other drinks and talking and laughing, a little buzz, talking about high school. That interception I caught back in high school. Almost ran it back, got caught before I got to the end zone. And you're spending money. This is the scariest part. Men spending money with each other, socializing, and no women involved. And that very often is what happened to me, where men, just freely vibe and being friends. Ain't nobody obviously trying to have no sex with nobody. Just, buddies, homies. That is a fundamental shift and change in socialization that is very, very, very threatening to women in particular. Because now that
Ooh,
time and that energy and those exchanges and goodwill are being transferred that would usually go to women, and to the particular preferences. Now they're being exchanged between men. And they're even being exchanged virtually. Brothers sending cash apps to each other for drinks and shit like that. Stuff like that. Ubering shit to each other. Homies just, the fundamental change in emphasis of relationships from man to woman to men. That's a profound seismic shift in the socialization that's going on right now. And that's
I have a
particularly
question.
present. And even this environment here is emblematic of that. This very environment, the nature of this environment, the cash apps, the super chats, whatever, is emblematic of that.
All right, now hold fast. I want to read two things, and I got to get Champ Car for life in. Okay,
All right, I got out the Champ Car.
Okay, shout out to 414 Money. He says their distraction just get paid. Now, see, this is one of the attitudes a lot of men gonna take, which leaves women just totally out of it. There's no avenue for them to go. You know what I'm saying? So they just kind of screwed on that note. That's an economic impact right there. Plus, shout out to Sirius Ra, who was talking to Floyd. He said, "Facts, Floyd. The economy is taking a hit, not dating women enough." And that's another very real thing, because when men do stuff together, we have more fun and it's cheaper. See, that's a dangerous combination too. More fun for cheaper. Me, I'm talking about how I'm gonna get back to playing video games. We're not spending a bunch of money when we play video games together. We done bought the system, we done bought the game. Everybody playing on the same system, same game. You ain't really spending a bunch of money at that particular time. Men go to a basketball court and we hoop together. We're not spending a whole bunch of money. Maybe we paid $50 to rent the court for an hour, possibly. But we can go to free parks and we hoop, and we'll hoop for hours. Ain't no money got spent. And after we go buy some Gatorade or something, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we go to a restaurant and eat together, depending upon how close the men are. But we'll do stuff for hours where we don't really spend money. And that turns into an issue from an economic standpoint, because if you go out with a woman for a few hours, you can spend $200, $300, $400, $500 very quickly and easily. But when men get together to have fun, y'all might spend $40, $50 and that's it. It's a huge difference. But let me let Champ Car for Life get in, and then we'll let Shark Sins get in right after him. Champ Car, you got it, brother.
Hey, brothers, happy Friday. I hope you all are having a good day. Roger, black man loneliness is peaceful and fun. It is, but there's a challenge to it. The challenge is that if you're not, you have to be you have to have some money to have fun and peacefulness. And you have to be financially stable. If you're struggling with debt, whether it be student loan debt, bills you got to pay past, hospital bills and whatnot, and you're not keeping your health in straight and straight and everything else, then it can be a challenge. But the thing is, though, one of the things I like about the fact that my single life is that you can hang out with a couple of brothers and everything else, and you can go to sporting events and everything. Sometimes when you take your female date out and everything else, they may not be into sports like I am. I like to watch baseball. I like to go down to St. Louis, and believe it or not, I like to watch a little bit of auto racing and everything else. And some ladies may not be into it and everything else. But if you want to hang out with a couple of your buddies and everything else, hey, let's go out, let's go have fun, let's enjoy the track and everything else. Listen to the sound of the cars and everything else, or just listen to the crack of a baseball bat and everything else. Back 40 years ago, I mean, it used to be fun, hanging out with your fathers, your cousins, and everything else. And the females, will be staying home, maybe cooking, get ready to do something, prepare for food while you guys go out and watch baseball. Whether it be at Busch Stadium in St. Louis and everything. That used to be the thing when I was growing up. But now in this day and age, it's the a lot of females are in a different planet right now. So yeah, being a single black male, lonely and peacefulness, yeah, you want to play your video games, do a little bit of sim racing, yeah, it can be fun, but you got to make sure that you got your money straight and everything else. You're not too much of a financial burden and everything else. So
Well,
that's all I
well,
want to go ahead.
I want to say in general, everybody's trying to make sure their money's straight, but having fun with men comes out to far cheaper than having fun with women.
That's
For
true.
example, for example, the
Yeah.
fight on. We watching the fight, y'all. Where we going to watch the fight? Oh, we going to such and such house. We gonna watch the fight. Okay, I'm gonna spend $100 on some chicken. I'm gonna buy the chicken, y'all. Okay, I'm gonna pick the chicken up, drop the chicken off. Somebody gonna buy some pops or some beers, right? Maybe they spend, $50 or whatever on some drinks or whatever the case is.
Or pay per view
150
fight.
bucks. Yeah, $150 got spent. Okay. We may pay per view for the particular fight. Maybe the fight on pay per view we pay $50. $200 spent. Okay, you could have 6 to 8 men enjoy that $200.
Yes.
I go on a date with one woman. We're gonna go to the movies, y'all. Tickets about $15 a piece. That's $30 right there. There's some snacks to be involved. You got to get some drinks, some popcorn, whatever. You done spent another $30 right there. Now that ain't nothing because you still got to take out the dinner, okay? But now she wants to go to a nice place. So how much money you gonna spend on just dinner alone? That might be another $200 right there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, if you do something after dinner, you may spend another 50 if y'all talk for a while or whatever the case is. Maybe you go to the ice cream shop later on after y'all spend a little time together. That's two people. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you could spend $250 for two people enjoy themselves. You could spend $250 or less. 6 to 8 guys had a great time. The
And you
money
Yeah.
got
don't move the same.
and you
Or
got to
like
remember
I
too,
said, a baseball
your
game.
emotional your
Go.
emotional labor also has a price too, Roger. So that 250 that's bumped up to 480.
Or like I said, Roger, go to a sporting event and everything else. Go to a major league baseball game or a minor league baseball game and everything else. Where I live at here in this small town of Springfield, Missouri, tickets are about what, $18 and
Well, yeah.
everything else. And the
The
food and
thing.
the concession stands are pretty cheap, or just as cheap as they are at the movie theater.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying when men do it themselves as a group, we spend way less money because there's nobody trying to impress somebody else from a financial aspect. So automatically the
Right.
prices go down. You know, 6 to 8 guys can have a great time with that same 250 that one guy spent on a date.
Exactly. Yep.
We
Like yo,
got
Yeah.
chicken, beer, pop, some barbecue sauce. We watching the fight. We all had a great time. We talk about it later. Y'all remember we watched the fight, such and such tripped over to what's the name, got a little too tipsy. Great time had by all. You know, you know, but just one woman can eat that whole 250 up. Or you got 6 to 8 men who had a great time with that same 250 or less. Okay, that same, and you don't have to come out your pocket with it all the time. One time you might buy the chicken, the next time the next guy buy the chicken, the next guy buy the pay-per-view. You didn't come out of pocket at all. I don't know about y'all, but I know I've definitely gone out with friends. We had a great time. I ate. We came, had fun. We was married, and I ain't spent a dime.
Raj,
It,
it used to be fun back in the
If
day,
you
man.
do
Whenever there was a
if you did it how we used if you did it how we used to do it, we would bet on the preliminary uh
fight,
playoff games leading up to the Super Bowl, and basically whoever lost would fund the next gathering to to the next playoff round, which made
yeah,
it that much more fun. Uh, which made it that much more fun to do.
that sounds like fun for sure.
yeah.
I have
But
another
Or
I
earlier
have to say,
question too.
but
Like,
here's the
I have to
Raj,
say,
scenario:
I
Raj,
have to
check this
say,
out. Raj, check
women
this
don't
out.
even like
Me,
women don't like being around women themselves.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true
well,
because
all I'm gonna say is this. Oh yeah, but we split the weed in the lap dances. You paying
That's
for your
a
own lap dance.
here, here's something to
see,
consider. Like,
see,
80% of retail purchase decisions are supposedly made by women, but men, we know for a fact, make more money. So what's going to happen if men are saying, "Yeah, I'm good on that. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to play my games here." That's going to have some downstream consequences because 80% of retail purchase decisions, that's a lot of social consequences that come from that. And if the
Uh,
guys aren't funding that, aren't running that, then you have a different scenario playing out in society.
they
I
mess,
don't think
they
it's not
they
gonna
messed up the
it's not
game.
gonna go that it's not gonna go that way because at some point the government is gonna be like, all right, we ain't funding these hoes no more. Y'all got it right. At some point, the government's gonna pull back. So right, it's only a matter of time
Well, I
because
Well,
mean, the government
the
is
government.
the government is pulling back. The question is the government going to pull back in a way in which men can resume more power and influence over these relationships, such that they are then become mutually beneficial? That's the
yes,
question.
yeah,
If the
because
government pulls back, that's fine. But if they also, to me, you got to also pull back on a lot of that DV stuff, a lot of this fake uh, SA stuff. You got to pull back on a lot of other stuff in order for that to work.
yeah.
and they will because at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, aging population, nobody wants that. No government wants that. So they're going to do what's necessary until hoes get that act right.
Like the world y'all describing, I've seen it. I went on my first cruise, right? And I smoked cigars. And I went with a shorty, right? So me and shorty went my first day. I'm like, yo, do your thing. I'm gonna go up there, smoke me a cigar, chill out. Yo, I met mad dudes in the smoking section, right? And every time we would be up there smoking cigars, somehow they wife, they girlfriend will make their way up there. Mind you, this is a cruise boat with everything you want on it. You on vacation. Somehow they found their way up to that goddamn smoking area where we smoking cigars and chilling and drinking and bullshitting. They pool here, pool there, jacuzzi, free drinks, but somehow they wound up by us. They don't like each other. They gotta be around us. And the problem, like I said earlier, yo, we sat at home during COVID and we listened to them talk about I don't need men, fuck dudes, you gotta make all this money. And men was like, oh word, all right, bet.
Yeah, ain't no point in me trying to impress you. I just keep my money. And
Yeah,
I'll fuck with Uru. I'll fuck with Uru and his crew for the Super Bowl. Fuck it.
yeah,
yeah.
I'll bring the
While
chicken.
these ladies sit up there breaking down, crying, and everything on some social media, talk about no man don't want to take me anymore and everything else.
but we're the ones
We
supposed
just
to be
lonely.
suffering through the lonely part. Now, let me say shout out to Ryan Decipher. I think I said it, but shout out to Ryan Decipher again for the 20. because he hit me on the Cash App. Appreciate you, brother. Big time. Appreciate you. And I'm going to say shout out to Serious Rye. He said, facts, Roger. Imagine those same 8 guys went on individual date with women. That's 250 times 8. Yeah, now see, that is when we think about that, y'all, that's a huge hit to the economy. 8 guys can get together and have a great time for $250 or less. Now, 8 guys could also take dates out somewhere, and you're gonna spend, and then it's 250 times 8 guys. That's a huge difference right there. You know what I'm saying? So what we talking about? 250 being spent versus what, 2,000? Was that that $2,000? 8 guys?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a huge dent to the economy, and certain places just ain't seeing stuff no more, which is why you had certain things that were designed for brides going out of business. Because if men ain't dating, they ain't married. You know, how the bridal shop gonna stay in business if ain't nobody getting married? You know, we have real impact. There's restaurants who just go out of business because men ain't taking women to the restaurants. It just is what it is. Because we don't need the fancy restaurant. We just going to get chicken. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm just throwing that as an example. It could be any particular thing, but we're not trying to impress each other from a food standpoint. I'm finna go get a tray of chicken. I'm going to JJ's, y'all. That's where I'm going. Okay? I'm going to, if you're in Chicago, we going to Uncle Remus. We're going to get some chicken. And that's all it is to it. I don't need to go to no fancy place to go pick up no chicken that we finna, laugh and joke around while we watching the game, or while we watching a boxing match, or while we watching the UFC event, whatever the case here. We just gonna be eating some chicken, having fun, cracking jokes, maybe drinking some beers or whatever, and we all have a good time.
Like here's one for you. How many times have you seen a guy on TikTok talking about ain't no women in the area? Where all the women at?
That's ludicrous.
How many times you see black guys in their cars crying because they ain't had no date? How many times have you seen that?
That's true. That's true, because some chicken, beer, and some watermelon is always a good time.
In somebody's backyard, we chilling, B. They gotta
And some
call us to
sub
come
sandwiches
home.
too.
Like
I would say
some,
some sub
especially a backyard barbecue, man. You have some good chicken on a June summer night with some watermelon with some seeds, and then you spitting, see who can spit the farthest.
Yo,
Yeah, and listen to some old soul music from, I don't know,
Mhm.
listen to
I'm
Earth,
t-
Wind and Fire, Cool in the Gang, back
and
in the
by
day.
and by 10:30, you gonna be getting that call when you coming home. Why? Because she lonely.
Yep. And then all you need to say is that throat warm.
Mm-hmm.
and,
There you
and
go.
real talk, we gonna have a good time because somebody got to prove that they the king of the dominoes. Somebody got to prove it. You know what I'm saying? That they ain't gonna go right till somebody prove they king of the domino table. So we gonna have a great time no matter what. So when I hear all this stuff about how men are supposed to be lonely, y'all, I don't say a lot that I think people just making stuff up, but I think a whole lot of this is just people making stuff up. Just real talk. I don't think there's any real information that people are able to get, even from a scientific standpoint, that's going to suggest that men are having some grand issue with being alone. And I do get somebody throwing in, well, what about the men at the nursing home? Do you see men at the nursing home complaining that they alone? Are you really seeing, if they at a nursing home, how conscious are they in the first place, and how much complaining are they really doing? They at the nursing
Yeah,
home.
but by the time you get in
Right.
the nursing home, other than eating and getting your diaper changed, what are you really concerned about at that point? And that's
Now,
assuming you're
y'all
even
see y'all.
conscious enough to even know that stuff is even still important.
Now, Uru, they getting it popping in the nursing home too. They having orgies in the
Oh
nursing
yeah,
home.
I hear
They
those red and blue pills are
yeah, they
I'm
eating blue.
reactivating some things.
What? Well,
Yeah,
I'm gonna say
they
that.
playing dominoes in the nursing home. Everybody, the nursing home is basically like a little community in itself. So you ain't alone in the nursing home.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's more because they do have these places for older people. Ain't quite the nursing home. The nursing home, a lot of times you kind of out of it. You know what I'm saying? But now they do have these assisted living facilities where you have these older people that's gonna need a little bit of help. You know what I'm saying? I think that's where more of the stuff is popping at. You know what I'm saying? Because it is some old folks coming up with STDs and stuff like that. So it ain't like ain't nobody getting it in nowhere. So like that's why I say it's gonna be some guy who's still gonna be on these hoes at the end of the day. You know, so the loneliness part is really hard for me to pin down where you would come to the conclusion that men are out here lonely when I just don't see no real evidence for it at all. You know, like I said, the last guy
You know,
I had to meet up.
I think the real, I think one of the real purposes of all of the so-called male loneliness media is actually a cope for the lonely women. I think
Yes.
it helps the women to feel better to think that the men are lonely. I think it's really a cope for just how desperately lonely so many women are. They get to see, that all these men are suffering and they need a woman, and it makes them feel better about either they feel better either about the men suffering, or it makes them think there's hope that because there's supposedly so many lonely guys out here, maybe I will be able to get a guy because there's so many guys out here struggling by themselves. So I think these articles are really mostly a cope for the women, not for the men.
Yeah, they so gullible. Uru, damn. These women, boy.
Yeah, and that's why I think they just making stuff up at the end of the day. I'm not, and I hate to really just say that about people, but honestly, this is just an issue. I think people just kind of making it up. I don't see lonely guys. Like I said, the last guy, I had to get him to come home from the bar so we can handle our business and I move on. The man was literally at the bar, and I think it was like a Wednesday or a Thursday. It wasn't even like a Friday. But he an older guy. He retired. He doing what he want to do, basically when he wants to do it. So he had to come home from the bar so we can handle our business. So he can go back to the bar later.
Go finish having
But
fun.
Yeah, I'm
notice
saying
in
yeah, like you
most
know,
of these male lonely, most of this male loneliness media. First of all, they never appear to survey men at all. They never appear to ask questions or interview men, or they at least don't reference to such. Maybe in the study they do, but they conveniently leave it out of the media that's generated from it. So they take these criteria without really even referencing at all to what men generally want and do and need. They just say X number of men haven't had sex, or X number of men haven't gone here, or X number of men haven't gotten married, or whatever. And then they just say that, okay, we're supposed to infer from that they're lonely. But they seldom at all query the men, or reference to any queries of the men. They make these references to depression and self deletion and whatever, which may or may not be related to a lot of different other things, other than the fact that some guy is quote lonely, could be due to increased job loss or increased divorce, or etc. So they do a lot of uh, bobbing and weaving in what they report, where they try to put these things together that don't necessarily say what their thesis is, but they expect you to infer these fallacious conclusions from them. You know, a spike in suicide, for example, or a spike in self deletion does not necessarily mean that men are quote lonely, but you're supposed to infer that. That's the kind of trick they play in what they do with a lot of that media.
yeah. And
Yeah,
I want to say
yeah.
shout out to since they didn't send another name or whatever. I want to I guess it's a business name. Shout out to Fly Exclusive with the Wine and Spirits. They sent the 5 in talking about the husband's lonely with wives. What do lonely even mean? Because I was trying to see if they was gonna put something else there, but I didn't see anything else that they put there. So shout out to Fly Exclusive with Wine and Spirits. Now that may be a business name, and if this is a business, I'm gonna check it out and see what they talking about. Okay, because it's somebody who's supporting the Roger Report Live, and I definitely can appreciate that. So shout out to you and the
Fly,
business.
Fly makes a very Fly makes a very important point. A man 30 years in a marriage haven't had sex with his wife, or maybe had sex with his wife 3 times a year, something crazy like that. That guy is married, might have children all around, maybe at that point even have grandchildren. That guy's probably fucking lonely, even though he's
Yep.
got a family and he's got a wife and all this. If he ain't getting no ass, he's very damn lonely. So that's the fallaciousness of how they present. Whereas the guy who's by himself playing the video games, maybe date or something, or maybe hit up a date nap or something, or maybe doing the fleshlight thing, that guy ain't necessarily lonely. That guy was
And then on
probably
top of
damn
that,
happy with what he's doing.
he don't have to deal with her bullshit friends, because not only can he
Exactly.
probably be lonely, he's miserable.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Uru, to your point, as it relates to there may be some distortion with this male loneliness epidemic. So Harvard did a study, right? I'm looking at it real quick, and when you go down and you actually dig into it a bit, they're actually talking about there were no real gender differences found as it relates to the loneliness that people felt. They talked about different age groups, like age ranges, and there's relative, but there's loneliness across the board in different age ranges, but it's anywhere from 20 to 24%. The highest group is like 29% between 30 to 44 years of age. But they reference that there's not that much as it relates to the gender differences as it relates on loneliness. So there may be some distortion here.
I want to say something about Harvard. So first of all, fuck them. Second of all, they only say there's no difference between gender when men are when it's not in favor of the women.
When men are
Right?
doing better, when men are doing
Yeah,
better, there's no difference.
because in a lot of Harvard studies, there's a lot of politics that goes into that. Right?
Okay.
There's a lot of politics. So normally they'll try to hit you with the gender. If they can't hit you with the gender, then they'll hit you. Well, first they'll hit you with the race. If they can't hit you with the race, then they'll hit you with the gender. Then if they can't hit you with the gender, then they go into age. Right? But I'm pretty sure if we really looked at the evidence, because we can see it in secondary impacts, right? We can see it in secondary impacts. Because my major was statistics, so how to put surveys together and stuff like that. You cannot tell me there's no difference in gender, but in secondary evidence, we can see for a fact that going to therapy has skyrocketed for females, and depression drugs have skyrocketed for females. So why? So if there's no difference, why has depression drug use has steadily increased for females, right? It doesn't make sense, right? Those things are not congruent. So Harvard has a lot of politics in their data. Not saying their data is wrong, but there's just a lot of politics in there.
Okay, well, yeah. So NPR did wrote a similar article, and they're referencing the study also, and they come up with the same thing, that it may be some distortion. It might be this male loneliness might be actually overblown.
Yeah,
might be overblown, man. I'm telling you, as just a random person, man. I meet the old ladies too, y'all. I meet everybody. I meet the young folk, the middle-aged folk, the old people too. I can clearly see there's a difference between the young men, or the older men and the older women. I see the difference myself. So, yeah, I think somebody fudging a little here or there if they talking about ain't no difference. Somebody playing games, real talk, because I definitely can tell the difference.
They lonely.
Bro, I see. I can't remember who it was who said that, but I think it was Afro Mercy talking about, yeah, you take the garbage. I've literally taken some garbage out just to go and get away from a woman. You did say something about that garbage earlier. You want me to take? Let me go and take that out for you, just so I can leave without her turning into a mess. You see what I'm saying? Because once I'm out, I'm out. Now you can.
Yep.
Once I'm out the door, I'm out the door. You know.
Daddy went to get some cigarettes, never came back. That was 25 years ago.
Hey, Roger.
Hey, Roger, I'm expanding the little garden area in my backyard. You ready to do that right now?
Yeah.
I'm going to be very busy.
Ooh, it's going to take you 5
Roger,
hours.
what I was saying is men literally
voluntarily
go
go
take
out
all.
in the
No,
woods.
Shark, it's gonna take all day, man. It's gonna take all day.
y'all hold on back because I didn't get Turnaround in here, and Turnaround trying to say something. So let me let him have the flow like he should have been got. So my bad, Turnaround. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I was just saying, literally, men go into the woods, into the forest, in the wilderness by themselves, not complain about nothing. They want to be by themselves. Men are built to go out in the wilderness, in the desert, by themselves, and not look for
Yeah,
anybody. They
yeah,
do that
Turnaround,
to
you
test
make a
themselves. That's
fantastic
what
point.
men do. Men are built for that, and
that's
women are
true
not.
because
And
there's
we
a
can be
couple.
quiet for a long time too by ourselves. We don't need
Yeah,
nothing.
because there's a couple YouTubers that literally made $1 million, just like the well, I'm not gonna
Out.
mention name, but this is white boy.
OB, the
He's married
OB.
with kids, and
Mm-hmm.
he stay in Alaska. His kids and his wife back home. This nigga's like, yo, I'm gonna show you how to sleep in Alaska with no tent, no sleeping bag. So his wife is so horrible that he's willing to be in Alaska, sub-zero degrees, with no tent and no sleeping bag.
With a tomahawk steak in his backpack.
Exactly.
That's my favorite channel too. Hot sauce.
Yeah,
Love
yeah,
her.
yeah, yeah,
Besides
man.
Roger
And
and BGS,
you
that's
say
my shit right
you
there.
say he got money. You say he got money, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you know
He's
that little
huge.
local. So you know that little local Eskimo talent is fire up there.
Yeah, man. They get all types of white herpes up in
Local
there.
Eskimo, he got a whole oasis going on up there. I guarantee you, he does.
Yeah,
I guarantee you got a whole damn harem going
because
on up there.
in the beginning it used to be him, his wife that used to do it, and then he was like, "Well, she don't like the cold so much." Then it was his kids, and then all of a sudden it was just him.
And now
But
she made him cut the quit, right?
oh yeah, yeah, probably
He
he did say it.
he gonna die soon.
Yeah,
That looked like that was his pleasure, just being in the woods, chilling there.
he's gonna die soon.
He gonna die soon.
Yeah,
You heard it here first.
I bet she probably threatened him with a divorce with that non prenup. That's probably what happened.
Because they did this one show, right? And basically she complained the whole time. He built the tents, he built the fire, he cooked the food, and she just plopped her fat ass on that chair and didn't move a little bit. Set up the sleeping bags for her and the kids. She didn't do a thing. And man, oh man, oh man. And she's fat.
Well, I think that again shows that men know how to have a great time, regardless of what type of situation you put them in. Men gonna usually have a pretty good time. Now, I don't know why that's so difficult for women, why they just can't enjoy themselves, because we take them to places to specifically enjoy themselves, and sometimes they still having a bad time. I don't get it. I don't get it. I just accepted that you don't want to have fun, and if I hang around you too much, that might happen to me. You're never gonna steal my inner joy. You know, I hear people talk about every once in a while somebody talk about you gotta hold on to your inner child. I don't let nobody steal my joy like that. So I believe my inner child is quite healthy. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have fun, I'm gonna have me a good time, and that's all I can guarantee you. I can't guarantee you having a good time, but I bet you I'm gonna have one. But Jado is coming up, so let me go ahead and let Jado get the mic. You got it, my brother.
Morning, Roger, fellas on the panel. Salute everybody in the chat. Man, peace, bro. I don't know which way I'm gonna go with this, man. I really came up just a fellowship with y'all, man. To be honest with you, but just listening to some of the program, the show today, you know, it reminded me of Eddie Murphy Raw. Now I guess this is old brother humor, you know, when he was talking about Mr. T. Mr. T was mad at him because he was making jokes about him, and he said he was gonna put them Jedi mind trick on him. Mr. T was like, "I heard you did some jokes about me," and Eddie Murphy said, "No, you didn't." He said, "Maybe I didn't." You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of this, a lot of this.
Man, nobody like Eddie, man. In the prime.
Hey, one of the greatest, if not the GOAT, man. But you know, a lot of this propaganda that's put out here, I think they're just trying to counter the things that's been going on with red pill, black manosphere, maybe even just the manosphere too. This stuff is getting out, word is getting out. And I guess I don't know if it's has it. Yeah, I guess it's reached escape velocity, as they say. But this is just things to counter this, and I guess if they repeat it enough and keep saying it enough, then maybe some people will believe in it or whatever. And I'm always kind of careful when I hear these. I don't know where this came from. Is it some study? Well, how are they measuring these things and all this stuff? So I always question all these things that come out or whatever. But it just kind of reminds me. I'll just tell a personal story, man. I had took a trip a couple years back to several countries that I had never been to. I didn't have anything set up prior to me going there. You know what I'm saying? And I went by myself, and I would speak with black women. They'd be like, "Oh man, I said you were out of town," or blah blah blah. And when I told them about my trip, man, they would look at me in awe. They were like, "Oh my gosh, you went by yourself? You didn't take anybody? Who did you go to meet? Did you go there? Did you have something set up already? And black women and women in general, they will always be like, "Wow, why you just went by yourself?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did." And whatever happens when I'm there, it happens. If I meet some chick out there, cool. But they were, I always get like a sense of jealousy, and if it was some type of romantic interest and stuff, they wanted to be on that trip with me, you know what I mean? Like by the way they questioned me or the way the conversation proceeded from that point, you know what I'm saying? It was always something. And one particular little, chick I used to mess around with, don't do it anymore. She later on joined some type of weirdo group uh and went on a couple of trips with I don't want to say whatever group it is, but some little group with other black women, and they just went on these little trips and or whatever, and she would come back and share her little stories from that. I thought it was interesting. But anyway, if there is any loneliness, I mean, maybe there's a lack of real meaningful relationships. And because I consider myself a man's man. Like, if you guys want to go play some ball right now, I got some shorts. I got a ball in my trunk right now. If y'all want to hoop, if y'all want to play some poker, whatever, I think I can get out there with the best. But at some point, I ain't gonna want to be around y'all dudes, for that long. You know what I'm saying? But that kind of goes with hey, meaningful relationships are lacking, and I don't think they're really trying to do something to improve that or whatever as a whole. And I guess I'll end right there, man. Appreciate you having me up, bro.
So Jado, they can't even go to the bathroom by themselves without getting lonely.
I agree.
Bitch, you taking a doo-doo. It's gonna be 10 minutes.
Yeah. Men are hunters, women are gatherers. Women are not built to hunt. What you were describing, Jado, was essentially a hunting scenario where you went out and you're a man, you're durable, you got a military background, so you have some base level survival skills and base level being able to anticipate possible trouble, scenario. I'm sure you have a physical disposition that communicates to other people that, won't start none, won't be none. So you can just hop on a plane and go somewhere. In most cases, most American men are probably bigger than most men outside of the U.S. So you even probably have a physical presence disparity in many places you go to. So yeah, you can very easily go all over the world and live very comfortably. They can't. They can't just by their physical being do what you can do. So I'm sure there probably was a great deal of jealousy and a lot of this hatred of men, particularly this hatred of black men, at the core of it is sort of penis envy and envy of the potential of men to be free and to explore and to do things. And so all this, I'm projecting this loneliness onto you is I want to be able to corral and capture and for my own purposes, direct and control and extort that power, that potential power that all men have. And to some of us, we have greater active power than others. But that potential power, the greater potential power that all men have, they want to get back control over. And so a lot of this propaganda is about doing that. Now, but then also, as I was saying before about the women in general, they do need to some way, and it's happening, make the women more desperate or feel more desperate so that perhaps they become more supple to men. But that's going to be a dance because we're 60 years into this I am woman, hear me roar bullshit. And it's going to take quite an effort and quite, some actions to unwind a lot of that bullshit, particularly especially amongst black women, because they are steeped into this black girl magic, black supergirl bullshit. So it's going to be very difficult to get them out of that stuff.
Yeah, I think they took a DMX line way too literal. Cause you when you rap, you make a song. It's for entertainment purposes. DMX had a line where he said, "I see niggas having a good time, and I'm gonna ruin it." I think women just that line is in their spirit, and they just won't let it go. They just want to ruin men's good time because I do believe they are going through loneliness issues. We do see the evidence of their loneliness issues, but I just don't see the evidence of men's loneliness issues. I have seen the man be upset that he lost his kids. I've seen stuff like that. That don't make him lonely. He don't get to see his kids the way he want to. That's gonna piss any guy off. Ain't gonna necessarily make him lonely, but everybody wants to see their kids. For the most part. So, well, at least when it comes to men, we want to see our children. So I definitely get that. But just out in the day, just living your everyday life, am I coming across men who are lonely? No, I'm just not doing it. Men have stuff to do. They have people they see. They have events that they go to. They go out and have themselves a good time. And some guys who really can't get out, they gonna watch it on TV. I can't necessarily get to the MMA fight, so I'm gonna watch it on TV. But I'm still gonna have a good time. I'm still gonna live my life. And I think a lot of this is because men have chosen to live their life regardless of what women have done to them. Because you got these men who have been married before, and they have been through a divorce. They have been alienated from children, and they okay. And I think that's pissing people off. You know what I'm saying? You didn't alienated the man's kids from him, but he's still okay. Well, you ain't no good because you don't even talk to your kids. Well, you didn't poison the kids against me. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go live the rest of my life and be fine. And I think they're mad at stuff like this. So they creating this whole thing about you men are having this lonely epidemic because they just don't want men to be happy. I think that has a whole lot to do with the situation. And it is attached to money because if the men ain't happy, I think they believe the men will start spending money to create some version of happiness. And we ain't spending the way they want us to.
I mean, was this how was this like quantifiable or what was it measurable? I know
it's a shot in the wind.
I'm just like, come on, are we being scientific or we not? You know what I'm saying? Come on.
It's no pure research, Pew Research, and none of that. It's just the chicks in they goddamn Nissan Maxima on TikTok.
No, Ultima, bro, Ultima.
Ultima.
Yeah, you got to downgrade.
Maxima is above the Ultima.
Yeah, exactly.
J-Lo foul.
They're not going to get the full package.
No. You got to step it down, right? You got to step it down.
You know what I'm saying? Whoa. Those for no maximum.
Oh, I mean, that's some keep it real stuff. As I came up, I did start to realize, the little car was mainly for women because you get the little car when you first get money, so you can't afford the big car. But then the men start buying the bigger car, and the women will hold on to them little cars. So it do be a money issue. But yeah, I do think
I thought the Ultima was just big enough for, like, when I thought it was like a baby mama mobile, just for like, just big enough.
No, the Ultima's the baby mama mobile.
That's all what I always saw. like Leo Maxwell. I said, it's usually a car seat. It's usually a car seat in the back.
Yeah, the Ultima comes with a spare in a car seat in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes equipped with that, huh?
Standard, straight
What?
from
It
the
comes with a car
Nissan
seat?
dealership. It's a Nissan baby seat.
What? It comes with a.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Nah,
Oh
nah,
man.
no, hot sauce. I'm playing.
Exactly.
I'm being stupid right now.
Oh man, that's foul.
now, now, shout out to Nissan if they got a endorsement deal. They want to, you know, what I'm saying,
Yeah,
I pedal them whatever you want all day long. You come with a check.
The Roger
But
Report Ultimate Edition.
exactly, sponsor the stream every day, all day. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. We'll keep it going. But yeah, I do think a lot of this stuff is just made up because women are having a tough time being by themselves. I think, and I know the way Shark is saying it, it may not be hitting people real hard about how women don't like themselves, because this is the issue that you have when men kick it with each other or kick it by themselves. If I'm at home and I ain't coming outside, who the women gonna talk to? If you out there and you at the pool hall with your friends, who the women talking to? You see what I'm saying? If we watching the MMA fight together, who the women talking to? So I think what's not being said, there's a whole lot of women who are forced to make a decision. Am I going to spend the night by myself, or am I going to have to go hang out with other women? And that's terrifying to them.
Or am I gonna have to put on my big girl panties and go to the bar and talk to men?
Right.
How y'all doing, fellas? Oh, what y'all up to? Yo, I'm at the bar yesterday. I met this old lady, married old white lady. She said she did 30 years in prison for murder and all that. And she in there having a good time buying niggas drinks and all that, chopping it up. Soon as we go in the backyard to smoke cigars, here they asses come.
Now I remember back in the day, brothers used to go smoking and women would stay out the room. That was like a thing back in the day. I guess that's over with, huh?
You too raw. You too raw, brother. You
Yeah,
too
but,
raw for me.
most of those
They need
women,
that attention.
most of those women already had husbands, so they weren't really that concerned.
Yeah,
When you saw that coming up, almost all those women were already married.
Good point. Great point. You know, real talk. You know, so yeah, I think women are having an issue with the fact that if we won't hang out with them, they got to hang out with each other, and that ain't jiving with them real good. You know, y'all need to come take me out, because if y'all don't take me out, I gotta.
Here's the worst part about that. The worst part about that is who gonna cover the tab?
Thank you.
That's the problem.
Yo, you ever seen a group of women at the table when that check comes?
Man, they start going to the bathroom, tying their shoes. They start
Like that shit like the
answering
kitchen wipe
phone
when the
calls that
roaches
ain't
is in.
there. Oh, let
Hey,
me
I
take
know
this
one
call.
thing. I know one thing. When that time comes, everybody's an expert at math at that table.
Exactly.
Everybody's a mathematician at that moment.
All I had was 3 crab legs. That's it. They ain't have
Yeah,
nothing.
bro. I knew one girl. She was like, "You took 3 fries, so if there's 24 in the pack,
They, be- they become they become
And
they
it costs
become STEM
$5.
experts,
I should
man.
have paid 28
man, they're
cents.
like 10, so you owe me 20 cents." I mean, like, they ruthless with it, bro. I mean, I remember, I remember when I was dating this one girl, right? It was nothing but girls and stuff like that. And everybody's like, my girl's just chilling. Girls, I always pay. So, and all the girls are like, you had this, you had that, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, God damn. Man, and boy, they be calculated taxes too. Right? Taxes too. Like, boy, man.
And then don't even tip.
Yeah, so I'm like, you know what? You know what? We're gonna separate the meal, right? So the waiter asks the waiter, okay, so this is what we order, make a bill for us, and then make a bill for everybody else. And you know what I mean? It's like, look, that way everybody can just chill. Just give everybody separate receipts. And then everybody calm down. Like, me and my girl got our receipt, y'all have your receipt. Man, but boy, man, they like women are the stingiest creatures in the
Yeah.
world.
And I think this is my honest opinion. I think they stopped giving separate checks at restaurants because of women. Real talk. Because back in the day, you could just separate the checks and things like that. I think because of women, it just turned into too many issues about who actually had this or who actually responsible for that. And they in the restaurant trying to get paid. So it's like one bill, or some restaurants now will let you like separate one thing. It's like, okay, you can have two bills on this one meal and that's it. But a lot of places nowadays, they ain't gonna even let you do that no more. It's just one bill because the restaurant want to get paid. And y'all ever notice how when women got to pay, somehow everybody gave bad service that night? Don't nobody deserve a tip that night.
The chicken wasn't made. The chicken wasn't done. Mind you, ain't no chicken on the bone.
You think about separate checks.
Here you can
That's a
separate
lot of extra work, because that's like basically like 7-8 tables at one table. Tracking this bill and that bill and the other bill. That's a lot of extra administrative work
You can separate
for you to not get more money, essentially.
Exactly. We're gonna do extra work for less pay.
Here's no problem. You just be like, "Oh, we want separate checks," and then that's okay. But I mean, it's only with women there. Like normally, if there's like 2 or 3 Chinese guys, then everybody's okay, because one of the Chinese guys or 2 of the Chinese guys will pay for everybody. Like if there's like 10 women and 3 Chinese guys.
And he pays for everybody. But which is also why, if I'm in the restaurant business, I want these hoes to get hooked up with some men, because I know when a man and a woman walks up in there, everything's gonna be all good.
Yeah. Like yeah. So like if in China, if there's like a bunch of women, that's not a check. Like that waiter is gonna have a nightmare of a time. But if there's like one Chinese guy, regardless of how many women are there, that Chinese guy's going to pay. Normally, he's going to pay.
Yeah, well, that makes sense because real talk, when you go out, when multiple couples go out and men are there, we ain't finna have no hissy fit over the table. Somebody gonna be like, man, look, I'm finna put 200 on this. What you putting on? And then we gonna get that bill paid, and we gonna tip them people, and we gonna roll up out of there. We ain't finna spend another 12 hours trying to figure out. Well, you did have that extra piece of cheesecake, and you did actually. You don't want to ask for the appetizer. I didn't even want that appetizer. You asked for that. We ain't finna do all that stuff that the women do.
Normally, if there's 3 guys, we just say, all right, we're gonna split this shit 3 ways. Regardless of what you had, split it 3 ways. Cool. All right, done.
So women are
most
making
the nigga
stuff.
might get in some jokes like, "Yo, your fat ass ate all of them pieces of cheesecake and brought the bill up." That's it. There ain't no like we hate her. He hate Uru because he eat mad cheese. No, it's just that, and we on about our business. Probably go to the bar, cigar lounge, or whatever, and we just kicking it. But that'll mess up a woman's. That'll mess up a female's whole relationship with another female.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is this, right? If there's like 3 guys and a bunch of girls, normally we'll just say, all right, we'll just split 3 ways, right? Now, if there's a bunch of guys, normally that's not an issue, because like when I'm eating with guys, everybody know what they spent. So here, because you when you're ordering, you're already calculating. So okay, here's my money, here's your money, here's my money, right? It's no, you know what I mean?
And most of the time they put in well over what they actually spent or whatever they ate. Like I try to put extra, I'll put a little extra on it here, so no question at all.
Yeah, because I pay mine plus the tip, because I don't drink, so I don't split the drink bill, but the food bill I'll just split. Regardless if I had less or little, I'll just split it. I'll 3 ways there, but I don't drink, so I won't split the drink bill. But I'll split the food bill and the tax bill, regardless of how much I had.
Well, you sound like a normal person, and because you sound normal, and that's kind of how men do stuff. Yeah, it's just way easier if they can get men back out there. So I do think there's a huge economical issue of why. Well, I think it's this: businesses will support the men loneliness thing because they want men out there to pay the bill in the first place. The women gonna push the male loneliness thing because they want men to come out here and start paying for them. Because we're not taking them to the restaurants, so the restaurants is taking huge hits. Or different venues that we take women to, they taking huge hits. Yeah, I mean, keep it real. If you got one of them little places where you go out on a date, right? You do this little painting thing where y'all, everybody get their easels or whatever, and y'all paint this thing, and it's a nice date, and y'all talk and have fun and all that type of stuff. Cool, you did that with your girl. How them places doing right now?
Out of
Okay,
business. Out of business. But you know what, Roger? You know what? See, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, and this is why restaurants really like it when couples come in, because this is when you really like a girl, when you really like her, and you order something, and she's like, I don't know what I want to get, but you just say it's okay, order whatever you want, you try it, then the food come out, she's like, I can't eat this, I don't like it. Next thing you know, you take her plate, you give her your plate, she eating, she happy, you eating food that tastes like utter dirt, and then you order extra dessert because you hungry as hell. Right? That's how they get you. That has happened to me on multiple occasions where she ordered something that she knows she don't like, but you want to try it out. I end up having to take it. Right now, this is my fiance at the time, so I end up having to take it, and she up there smiling, eating my shit.
because that's real love.
Right, but roles reverse. I have yet to meet a woman where you like, oh, this tastes nasty, and then she give you your plate. I've yet to meet that woman.
All right, y'all. Well, we are past the 3 hour mark, so I'm going to bring this one to a close. But I got to shout out to Afro Merchant. He said he falling out over $3.87, which will happen, y'all. Which will happen. So I honestly think we gonna push this male loneliness thing. Man, I think people just trying to get their money out of men because we having too much of a good time. But the price that we're spending, like I think this is a great example that people can take with them. That 8 guys can have a whole lot more fun with $250. You know what I'm saying? Because one man spending $250, you have maybe you have a good time with one woman. Maybe you have a good time, but 8 guys, $250. A lot of guys can have a great time with that. We're gonna get the chicken. We're gonna watch the fight. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get some beer, some pop, whatever, depending if you drink or not. We're going to talk crazy. We're going to have a real good time. It's going to be a fun night that we'll talk about later. But
Roger, I think 250 that
That's a
250
lot
is
for
a
a
great
man.
night amongst men.
Yeah,
Like,
for 250, we talking weed and ass.
oh
Weed and
yeah,
ass.
we balling. Pussy only $40.
You know.
well, when I estimated it was less than 250, but I'm just saying once you throw the date in there, yeah, you might spend around 250 if you're going on a date. So that same 250 or less, yeah, 8 guys can have a great time. That's real talk, man. 8 guys can have a great time with that same 250. Real
$50
talk.
We
is
might get
enough
in
for 8
trouble that
guys.
night.
$50 is enough because you get that value pack from KFC
Oh,
and watch the Tyson fight. That's $50.
we got $200 extra hot sauce.
That's what I'm saying. We talking weed and ass at that mark. Right?
All right, well, y'all go ahead and get on up out of here and y'all celebrate responsibly. Whatever y'all gonna celebrate,
I
y'all.
know boys night out, man. I know how much a boys night out costs.
But
At every level. At every level. I know how much it costs.
I
And
know
don't
I'm
get
gonna
him no
go for
snow.
another segment.
You get him a
Go
little
ahead.
snowball. It's a party, man. Party.
Well, Roger, let me say this real quick. $50 chicken and watermelon will cover 8 guys. $250, we talking about the stripper coming over. A rack, we talking Asian women where you can eat food off their naked bodies. Just so you know. 150, we talking cocaine in the butt.
Well, I'm not gonna disagree with that because
Chicken grease on the
1,500
nipple.
cocaine in the ass.
yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that because I think for us, and it ain't just about the money. It's about the fact that we're actually gonna have a real good time. It's gonna be a memorable time, and things may happen that we'll joke about later on. You remember that night when you did such and such or whatever? Stuff like that is gonna happen amongst men. So I really do think this whole male loneliness thing is just a ploy to get brothers out there so they can start spending some money again, because women are not having as good of a time because they can't go out to stuff because it is going to be an issue of who's going to pay. And that's something women ain't really had to deal with on a regular basis about who's going to pay. Because, women keep talking about they independent, they want to stunt and all that. And some of them say they got great jobs and I make X amount of dollars per year and all that. Okay, cool. Why don't you grab the tab? Since you the one with the job making 90K a year or 115 a year, why don't you pick up the tab? What's the big deal at the end of the day about picking that tab up? Because I will say amongst men, multiple men have picked up the tab, because I know I picked up a tab and I know I've went out on multiple occasions with men and I didn't have to pay a dime because it wasn't my turn to pick up no tab. It was just go have a great time and enjoy yourself.
They're just trying to play on your ego. They know men's ego is what kills a man. So it's, oh, you lonely. So now they want Roger to be like, I ain't lonely, and go out and get a girl and pay $250 for nothing. That's all that is.
I gotta prove to you that I ain't lonely. I'm gonna prove it, y'all. Well, I'm gonna close the show out. Well, let me just say, I'm about to close the show out. Go ahead and say what you wanted to say, but I did drop a link in there for.
I was thinking.
Well, for people on the after show side, the link is there.
It might have worked prior to COVID, but the women have revealed too much of themselves, too much of the truth the last 5 years. From COVID, we went to, I think, a point of no return in reality. It really has been like seeing the other side of the matrix now, and there's just no going back.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say shout out to Gabe A. I saw Gabe A. Now he said, the Manosphere trenches laugh out loud. And no, of course, this is the Black Manosphere, not the Manosphere. And I know you saying that because he likes to take joy out of people suffering, quote unquote. And yeah, I lost the channel, Gabe A. This is the third show on the new channel. As you can see, the numbers are going just fine. So if you try to make me feel bad, it's kind of hard to do so when my numbers go up the way they're going. So it's kind of hard for me to feel bad. And I ain't trying to say that I'm the greatest, but let's keep it real. I got the best show on social media. It is what it is, brother. So you came to the wrong place if you're looking for somebody to feel bad. You just ain't gonna see it over here, y'all. I'm too great for that. And I done been through this before. Possibly even go through it again. The only thing I'm gonna do is just be better than last time. So that's all you get over here. You just get me being better than the last time. So you can't bother me with that type of stuff. So I'm just letting you know, because I know you got a track record of going around bothering people. I'm gonna be the last guy that's bothered. But you're welcome to come, because again, my content for everybody at the end of the day. So you always welcome to be here. It is what it is. But y'all have yourself a great weekend. I'm getting up out of here. It's been definitely enjoyable. Y'all do y'all best not to find yourself in a lonely situation over the weekend. Try not to be lonely, guys. I don't see no evidence of it, but try not to be lonely, okay? Don't get it twisted, y'all. I got to worry about being lonely at some point too, right? I got to worry about it. I ain't got no wife. I ain't got no kids. If I ain't careful, somehow I'm going to end up lonely, yet I've never had that experience in my life before. Never once. I can't even remember being lonely, but I guess if my future ain't bright, I got to worry about it. I think I'll be all right, though. But y'all have a great weekend. Long live the Habitual Line Steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm lonely. Out. No, Ryan Disciple said maybe Gabe A is lonely. Maybe get up out of here. Y'all have a good weekend.